Good. How you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We're live. We are headed to straight into Inside High School Hoops. We got our first guest coming on, Craig Roberts Sr. We'll go ahead and bring him straight in and get to. We got a full lineup today of plenty of guests. So hold on one second. We'll bring Craig in and let him get started. Craig, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good. Just first. I'll let Ani get the first question out of the gate.
Okay.
Craig, you've been in the game for a long time. Your son, he's playing. Just talk about, from when you start to now, how's the game of grassroots basketball, even in college basketball, changed since you started?
Oh man, dramatically. When I started, I want to say back in 1997. I started coaching with Vonzell Thomas, Team Fort Worth. Vonzell now runs Southern Assault, the premier Adidas team in Dallas, Fort Worth. I started coaching with Von, man, and the game has changed dramatically. The landscape, kids, parents, everything's changed. Nothing is the same.
So talk a little bit. Let's go a little bit in depth on this. So what about the kids, the parents, and the landscape? We'll go first for kids and parents. What has changed about that?
The kids are softer and not as skilled, and the parents have unrealistic expectations.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
It's just point blank. Every parent believes that their kids should be the first or second option on each team, and if they're not, then it's a meeting, a text message, a phone call after every game. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm over at Hillcrest High School, and Coach Harris, the head coach, gets a text after every game. Why didn't my kid play in the fourth quarter? You benched him after he turned the ball over. I mean, he should have been benched after he turned the ball over.
Right.
I mean, what you saying? We supposed to just watch him be bad?
Why, coaching, one thing I do is I have 24 hours for someone, parent to reach out. And I do agree that there is a level of unrealistic expectations come from some parents. I always want to know, where's the origin? Where does this stem from? I want to see what your thoughts are.
The 24-hour, where does that stem from?
No, just from parents having unrealistic expectations or kids being little.
I mean, every parent loves their kid, man. I mean, I love my son. You know what I'm saying? Every parent loves their kid. And I believe that there are some good parents out there that are happy for other, kids and families that are doing well, but at the same time, they want what they want for their child. And it's the right way and the wrong way. And sometimes, not sometimes, but oftentimes the lines get blurred.
I feel no, absolutely. I do agree on that. I have last week on the show, I made a statement just about parents and players and just kind of kids playing for one another, just playing to win the game. Don't
Exactly.
worry about playing time. Don't worry about points.
Yep.
Kids look at their box score at halftime now, or ask how many points. When I speak to kids, I encourage parents. When your kid comes in the car, don't ask how many points they scored. Ask how your team won. If your team won, ask many rebounds, assists, steals. How were you on the bench? Stuff like that I think generates more positive.
But that's because you're a basketball person, you're a basketball mind. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as a coach, when I talk to kids that play for me after their games, my first question is, did y'all win?
Yeah.
My second question is, how'd you play? And then I get into, okay, well, what did you do? And usually that first response is points, but I'm like, okay, what about rebounds, assists, blocks? You know what I'm saying? Tell me about that. Points are one of the last things I ask for. And then when you tell me, I had 20. Okay, well, what'd you shoot? What was your how many shots you took? What was your percentage? What'd you do?
Right. Right.
Oh, I was 5 for 25. Okay, that's not a good game, son. You just shot a lot. That's not a good game. You took more shots than you scored points. That's not a good game.
Right. No, for sure. Efficiency does definitely matter. I think we kind of forget that. You see a kid that will have 25 or 30 points, but when you kind of look deeper in, you see the shot chart, and you're like, whoa, he shot about 30% from the field. More volume scored than actually just being an efficient playmaker.
I mean, and I would use my son as an example, Ani.
Okay.
My son signed with Missouri out of high school, then transferred to Texas Tech at the semester break, then ran into some trouble and left Tech at the end of the year and went to Broward Junior College in Fort Lauderdale. Mm-hmm. And spent a year playing at Broward, then came home and went to Ranger with Coach Gillespie, and now he's at New Mexico State. And I tell these kids, I said, look, man, my son was top 10 in the state of Texas in his class, top 150 in the country. What I'm saying? He was considered pretty damn good. None of y'all are nowhere near him. And look at the trouble he's had in college, how he's had to bounce around to find a home, to find his niche. What I'm saying? How he's had to grow and mature. You guys got a long way to go, man.
Right.
I mean, and I'm real honest with kids and parents about my son's journey, his story. You know what I'm saying? I'm very honest about it. Some of the things were not his fault. Some things were his fault.
Right. No, absolutely. And CJ was a hell of a player. He still is. Especially coming out of high school, athletic, got downhill, could just really, impact games in several different ways. Talk about, how CJ's had to bounce around. I tell my guy, playing college basketball is very, very hard. It's a different.
Well, I mean, part of his journey, like I said, man, is maturity. That's the one word I can use. He needed to mature. He signed with Missouri out of high school with Kim Anderson and Steve Shields. Then they were fired in March, April, and Cuonzo Martin took over. And I urged him to, get out of the letter because we didn't know Cuonzo Martin. He didn't recruit him. Cuonzo was at California. He didn't recruit CJ there, so we had no knowledge of dealing with him. And I was like, hey, man, we need to get out this and, get free, see what else is out there. Well, Cuonzo immediately brought on Mike Porter and his brother John Terry, Blake Harris, and Jeremiah Tillman. And CJ knew all those guys from going to, camps, whatnot through the years. They all knew each other. So they immediately got on the phone and were like, hey, man, come. We're going to be the new Fab Five. It's going to be great. Just roll with us. And he convinced the family that was the best thing for him to do and to let him continue to go there. Well, obviously it didn't turn out to be the best thing. And we left at the semester break. And, Texas Tech was also one of the final schools that we had in contention when he chose Missouri out of high school. So we ended up transferring there, in part because they had a scholarship at the break. The school that we actually really wanted to go to didn't have any scholarships at the break. So we were kind of stuck in that regard. It was either go to Texas Tech or go to the junior college. Again, I kind of wanted him to go to the junior college, which would have given him more options. It would have opened everything back up after a year. But he wanted to stay at the Division I level, so he went to Texas Tech. Now at Tech, and that was the year that, Zaire, Jared Culver took off their freshman year. They had a great NCAA tournament run. Zaire was able to go get drafted in the first round by Philadelphia. And, CJ enjoyed his time there, but he wasn't playing. So he kind of got into some trouble off the court. And Coach Beard is pretty strict and no nonsense. Well, at least he was with CJ. But that's, when he said he wasn't bringing him back. So, I blame that on CJ.
So when you talk about, you said something about maturity.
Yeah, I mean, just maturity, man, knowing how to conduct your business off the court.
That needs to close in.
Well, somebody's got some static, some extra noise going on. But when I say maturity, man, I mean just conducting your business off the court. You know, it's easy when kids are in high school, they're at home, and we walk in there and say, hey, we got to work out at 6 a.m., you know, we're going to get up at 5 and go. When they're away in college and they're on their own, you know, there's no mom, dad to get them up. It's on them completely. You know, and they have so many other options. They can go to the frat party. They can stay up all night playing video games.
Right.
They can go hang out with the redhead, the brunette, the blonde. I mean, it's so many other options for them. You know, are they still going to want to get up and go to bed early and get up early and go work out?
Right.
It's the difference. I mean, and no one can predict who's going to be like that and who's not.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, my son went to Missouri, and when they called and told me some of the things my son was doing, I was like, that's not my son.
Right.
You know, and they said, well, that's what's going on. You know, and I'm like, whoa. You know, wait a minute, man, where this come from? You know, but again, you know, you put them in their own world. And I should have known this because I work in the school system. And I tell parents all the time, the kid you drop off in the morning is not the kid that walked through these doors. It's a whole nother person. So I should have kind of had an inclination that, again, with my own kid, it's the same. You know, the kid that walks in the door at home is probably not the same kid that walks in the door at school.
Right.
You know, a little bit more of their personality comes out. They get a little bit freer, a little bit looser, you know, and they just do things a little different than they would at home.
We're going to jump into a little bit more of that, Craig. We're going to bring you back in about at right about 10:30 your time. We're going to bring you right back in. We're going to bring in our next. We're going to talk a little bit more with Craig. We're going to bring in our next guest, Mr. Chris Walsh from Texas Recruited. The man behind the website and the Twitter handle is going to show his face and talk a little bit about what he's got going on. So we're going to bring him on, representing Texas. Chris, what's up, my man? Can you hear me?
What's going on, Burton? How you doing, man?
I'm well, man. How about you?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So go ahead and tell
man. I can't complain.
Texas Recruited.
What was that?
I said, go ahead and tell us the journey, man. Go ahead and tell us about Texas Recruited.
Man, we got started probably back in like 2014. The funny thing is you were probably, I think you were the first coach I ever met. And it was over at Alan Branch's deal. And I feel like I spent a weekend with you, kind of introduced me to some people and really put me on. So the funny thing is you're one of the guys that really helped me get going back in like 2014, and we're still rocking and rolling today. So
yeah. I don't even know if I realized that. Probably back in the day, but just hustling to help. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean you helped me. You helped me tremendously. So I'm forever grateful for that. Very appreciative.
Yeah, and tell the people, and you're welcome, man. Tell the people kind of what it is that you do and what it is you're aiming to try to accomplish, and how you help the state of Texas when it comes to basketball.
I got in this all about for the kids, just to help all the kids that I could. I don't make any money off basketball. I make $0.00. I do this for pure passion. I was coaching an AAU team back in 2013. And I had 3 kids that I thought could play basketball. I literally drove them to every junior college in the state, basically to get a workout in, to try to get them somewhere. And then from there, started the Twitter, started trying to get as many connections as I could. And then my goal is I'm like the college coach that likes to be in the back gym. I want to go places where other people aren't. I want to go find the next gym and expose that kid, get him exposure to everyone before anyone else does. Keontae George, for example, everyone knows about him. Phenomenal player, great talent. Everyone talks about him. He doesn't need me to talk about him. So I want to go find the kid that needs me to talk about him. And that's really my goal and my mission, is to just get as many kids exposure as possible, because the Metroplex has so many phenomenal players, and it's huge. It's literally huge. There's too many. There's too many players, and not enough people that do what we do. So that's my passion and goal behind Texas Recruited.
Yeah, tell us. That's awesome stuff, man. Tell us if there's any favorite success stories so far. Any guys kind of under the radar right now that you'd like to highlight, kind of in our little segment today.
Yes, so I've got there's a few in my opinion still mid majors in the class of 21, and you got a 6'8" Josh Farmer from Sharpstown, 6'6" Aaron Scott from Legacy Sports and Science. You got a 6'3" DJ Richards from Cy Creek. Those are kids that I feel like, you know, they're mid major players that can go right now, and I know recruiting's real difficult for college coaches right now because they can't really be out on the road. But you know, one kid that I'm super high on is Marlon Linton Jr. out of Crandall, Texas. He's a freshman. He's averaging 25 points a game. He's doing things that I haven't really seen a freshman do in some time, and he's a little bit outside the Metroplex, maybe like 30 minutes out, so he doesn't get the exposure or attention that he needs, but he is going to be a high major player that I'm extremely happy to be working with and helping out.
Yeah, any particular success stories in the past that you like to talk about, or guys that maybe you helped highlight that maybe weren't getting as much exposure, that kind of maybe didn't have Division I and they got Division I, or maybe they had lower Division I and you helped them get bigger?
Yeah, so there's a kid named Jal Bilicek. He didn't pan out because he ended up getting into some trouble, but he was a senior that I had go to a prep school, and he had no Division I offers. During that prep year, I was actually able to help him become a 4-star recruit. I get offers from Wichita State, Oklahoma, LSU, Texas Tech. And he unfortunately ended up just moving back home, and I think he ended up at like North Dakota State or something like that, and getting in a little bit of trouble. So I don't think everything worked out. Another kid I definitely hit a home run on was, I think, how I met you. His name was Garrett Thibodeau, and he was literally at some small private school in Tyler, Texas, and I would go from Plano to Tyler probably 3-4 times a month to see that kid, and his recruitment really blew up. I mean, I think he had 13 or 14 Division I offers before he even played in an AAU event. So he was another kid that I enjoyed working with.
What's up, Chris? It's Ani.
Oh, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you? Happy birthday.
Hey, I appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. No problem. No problem. You're always blessed to get more birthdays. You know, you made a point. So first off, Garrett Thibodeau. So I'm from Tyler, Texas. That East Texas Ballers team, that was who I coached. So I had Garrett when he was like in middle school.
Okay.
Real talented player. I know he's at a grad assistant at D2 now. So definitely proud of how he's kind of just matured as a man. And I just love to kind of just watch him develop, you know, in high school when he was at TK Gorman. Then he went to Lee. He finished out his senior season at Lee, which is called Legacy. You made a point about Marlon Linton, and he was someone I got to see prior to the season. Lefty, real, you know, has good feel and IQ for the game, you know, real underrated passer. I know he was kind of more known as a scorer, especially coming into high school, but I did see some things as a PG that I really did like. You said there's some things that you saw from that just is kind of outlier out of the box. It's kind of same things I'm kind of touching on, or I just want to get your thoughts. What are some things that you're seeing different that you're not seeing from other guards, especially in his class?
Well, so here's the deal with him. I saw him in person last night. He played a very good North Forney team. I believe North Forney was like 12-2 in district, and basically I think finished in second place. Every school puts a senior on him, and every school is aware that he's a freshman, so everyone gets to talking. And when you get to talking to MJ, he's going to go off. So, I mean, last night, I think Crandall ended up winning by 4 or 5 points. MJ had 28 points. He had to make 4 really clutch free throws at the end of the game. The whole, granted, there's not a bunch of people because of COVID like there should be, but you had a crowd of people, chanting his name, trying to mess him up on the free throw line, and he's not phased. He has a mental toughness about him and a dog to him that that can't be taught, and that just comes to his upbringing from his father, because his dad is very involved with his basketball, and he has raised a good young man. And one of the best things about MJ to me, outside of basketball, is that kid's got a 4.0 GPA. Like he's with it. Yeah. He's with it in the classroom too. So I've gotten to know him and his family, great parents. But yeah, as far as just like mental toughness and like, you're not going to be able to punk him on the court. You can try, but it's not going to work out well for you. It's just going to make him embarrass you. That I've seen that over and over and over again. So another thing too is I watched him hit last Friday. I watched him hit a game-winning 3 at the buzzer to send Mesquite home, out of the playoffs. And that's again as a freshman. So every game I go to, man, he has like a game high, and he can take over the game, and he's doing that as a freshman. And he's not playing other freshmen; he's playing juniors and seniors, and they're all aware that he's a freshman, and they all think they can get in his head, and all these coaches are game planning for a freshman, and he's still delivering. So that speaks volumes about him.
Absolutely. You mentioned the kid from Side Creek, DJ Richards. And he's someone that I've gotten some calls about recently. He had 42 points. I won't say I know he played yesterday, but the game on Friday. He's really been tearing it up. Got to see him in the fall as well. And I was like, man, this kid's really intriguing. He got solid positional size, can really shoot with range. Just a player, and he's tough. Obviously he's a lean, skinny kid, so it's not the most, physically imposing type kid, but he gets a lot done.
The thing about him,
why you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say the thing about him is, he can put on weight, especially, these
Absolutely.
Kids go to college. These kids go to college in the summer, so he'll spend a whole summer with the D1 program in the weight room and get the body right. But he is quick and he can score at will, and I've just enjoyed, seeing stuff on him. He's one of the most undervalued guards, I think, that is available right now, in my opinion. And I think that, if we weren't in COVID times, this probably wouldn't even be a conversation,
Right. I think, and I was talking to a couple people about it, in traditional years, guys like Josh Farmer, guys like DJ Richards, their recruitment would take it off. They probably would maybe commit somewhere at this point, because they already have the options already set. Just kind of talk about the challenges that players, especially in the 21 class, have had just due to COVID and due to the rules.
Well, it's an unfair advantage because you've got kids that are D1 right now that are opting out or transferring, and they're just going to become a freshman again, so they're also competing with the 2020 class. You have a lot of kids that can't, there's another kid at Crandall named Bo Bragg. He's 6'6", literally built like a bodybuilder. He's an absolute beast. He should be a Division I player, but no one can come see him, and that's the problem. Is these coaches, they don't want to be sitting at home. They want to be out recruiting, and they're having to recruit through, watching film. And I'm sure that's very difficult. So I think that makes my job, your job, everybody that does what we do, a bigger, we have a bigger responsibility now to kind of try to get it right. And because they're relying more on us than they ever have. And I know it's difficult on them, but I feel bad for anyone that was in the 2021 class, because it's taken a bigger toll on the 2021 class than the 2020 class, in my opinion.
Chris, I know it's your birthday, man. Happy birthday. We appreciate you jumping on. Any last words you want to say before we let you run and get to what you have on your side?
No, I love what y'all are doing. I appreciate both of y'all very much. And thanks for having me on. I got to get running myself.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Best of luck, and you know we're in support, man. Keep up the good work.
Y'all take care. Appreciate you.
Okay, man. Happy birthday. Enjoy it.
All right, happy birthday.
Yeah, so I'll let Ani talk a little bit about maybe a few of those players if he wants to. We got Todd Shelton coming in the building, and we got Craig Roberts coming back as well.
T. Shelley. No, some of the things I really do like Marlon. I got to see him against O.D. Wyatt. They were playing in Tony Swindle's league out in Cedar Hill. You know, I've been able to kind of catch him, you know, a little bit in middle school, 7th and 8th grade, but going into high school, just watch him against a real talented group like O.D. Wyatt and still able to hold his own and still be able to make plays really impressed me. Didn't get rushed, still made the right plays. So he's a kid in that 2024 class. You just kind of keep your eye on. Obviously, you know, may not get the recognition on the public eye that, you know, maybe you would think he deserves, probably, you know, being out in Crandall, like Chris said. And, you know, people may look at the level of competition, you know, as maybe as a hindrance to some of those things. But, you know, one thing that I've had to realize as an evaluator is you just got to see how it looks like. If it looks a certain way, you know what it can be. And, you know, at some point, those guys are going to play against higher level dudes. And then you see it before, you know, I think being a good evaluator, in my opinion, is seeing it before, you know, they kind of get in those scenarios. But Marlon's always been talented. It's just, and I think he is someone that does kind of get overlooked a little bit, just kind of being in the situation that he's in. But Crandall has had a good season. Again, I like DJ.
I was going to say, speaking of good evaluators, we got Texas Prep Reports own T. Shelley, baby. Please say the baby in the building. Todd Shelton.
Todd Shelton.
Coach Todd Shelton, how you doing, man?
What it do? What it do?
Good to have you on, man. Good to have you on. So tell everybody about the Texas Prep Report. Tell everybody about T. Shelley. What do we need to know before we get started in some convo?
Texas Prep Report, you know, was actually started probably about 10 years ago. Actually, I've been doing it for a while, but just came up with a name. And then, you know, like I'm not a very like optics guy, but I have a business partner who made the report look a little bit better to the eye. So I've been doing it for a while, try to, not just find the kids like a Keontae George or Terry Morris, but, you know, like kid at Grand Prairie last night. So I just try to, you know, every level of basketball, try to find a kid, help them in school. And I've kind of been on every level from high school head coach to the NBA to JUCO to rec league, you know, so I'm just, I love basketball. I got my hoop junkie sweater on, courtesy of Kevin Bradley. Go get some gear. And that's where we're at. And I'm out here with B Bird and my man Ani with the money.
Yeah. So we can talk players. We can talk a lot of different things, and we're gonna bring Craig back in.
Bird. He not telling us who T. Shelley was. That was like the PG version of T. Shelley.
I just had to, like, you know, when we got kids watching, okay, so let's keep it real. Here we go. So high school coach for a long time, grew up in New Orleans, I'm 100% NOLA. And, you know, I'm just here to try to help kids. Like, I'm kind of all over the place, you know. I tell people I'm 90% saved, the other 10%, God is still working on me. And I'm just here to try to change the landscape of college basketball. I mean, you know, I'll say this. I think a lot of college coaches don't work hard, and they missed out on a lot of players. Like, for instance, I'm going to just dive into this. Jordan Roberts, listen, if you are a Division I basketball coach from Conference USA on down, and you don't go get Jordan Roberts, you deserve to get fired. So Ani woke up the real T. Shelley, so let's go.
We're going to bring in Craig Roberts as well to have some conversation about the Metroplex, about everything going on in the state. Hold on, we got a quick comment from Stacy. Don't get them started. All right, we're gonna bring Craig back in. I'm gonna let Ani take the lead and just lead the conversation this morning on it.
What's up, T. Philly?
Craig Roberts.
What's good?
Yes, sir. T. Shelley.
I want some gumbo. It's still gumbo weather.
That's true. That's true. We need to get together, man.
Hey, T. I was one of my first questions to Craig was, you started your report 10 years ago, and I just want to ask you how the landscape and how everything has changed in the grassroots and just the college basketball since you started. Kind of want to get your thoughts on that.
Man, so I've been knowing Craig for years. We started working. I probably met him at UTA camp back when Eddie McCarter was the coach, and so. And then from that, me and Craig has like grown to a friendship. So whenever I want to know some real about stuff, I hit Craig up. Like, people don't know how much me and Craig talk because we don't put it out there like that. Or, outside of basketball, I always joke that I'm always second place in the CJ Roberts sweepstakes, whether it's him not making it to Haltom High School or him not making it to Panola. But and Craig attested to this, before the shoe companies got involved, I remember watching Dallas Showtime and Dallas Mustang game, and you had Derek Rowland, Donald Sloan, Georgia Dufour, Harold Stewart, Justin Mason.
Yeah.
You legitimately had like 10 Division I dudes on the court. And so
on one team.
On one team. So Showtime had like 5. The Mustangs had like 5. Craig and them have always done their deal. And I just think with the shoe companies, it's kind of watered down because kids don't sometimes want to sacrifice a little bit of them for the good of, and we got more handlers involved, and which I like that. I like the fact it's kind of like LeBron with Rich Paul and Randy and Maverick. They've taken control of their own destiny, but sometimes it hurts in high school because you just don't see those matchups like that anymore.
And they run from them.
Yeah.
The handlers run from them. I mean, and y'all talking about Keontae George, okay? Let's put it out there. Keontae George is leaving Nike and going to Adidas. Now, his people believe that's the best move for him, and who can say that it's not? But there's a large majority out there that believe he's running from the heat.
See, Craig, I don't believe it. Let me tell you why. I honestly think, and I don't say this often about kids, and I don't really want to say it on the show, but like Keontae, he's big time.
Oh,
he's a pro.
Absolutely.
Like people talk about, oh, pro. It's like, no, that kid is a pro, barring injury or getting in some kind of trouble. Well, injury, because even if he gets in trouble, somebody gonna give him multiple chances. So I don't think he has to run for any. I don't think he has to run for anything because you line whoever you want, EYBL, Under Armour, Adidas. Keontae George giving you that business.
Well, I mean, I agree with that. But the better guards in that class are supposedly, quote unquote, playing on the Nike circuit. So a lot of people, and I'll tell you, the opinion that I'm throwing out is not mine. I'm giving you what's being thrown out there by some people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But you gotta do what's best for your kid. Like, for instance,
absolutely.
You were a dad of a big time prospect, and I don't know if people know the story, who went through a lot to get to New Mexico State. And at one point, Craig Roberts had, well, why would you send him to Florida? Because that's the best for him. Why would you send him to Ranger? Because that's the best for him. Because you have to look out for your own interests. Because nobody loves CJ. Like, this is what I hate. People are like, oh, that's my kid, right? I hate that saying because CJ Roberts is Craig's kid. Like, now you might have a say-so in it, but Jason Thurkill isn't Ani's kid. Ani mentors him, develops him, but he's Big Thurkill's son and his mom's son. And so the whole my kid, I try to stay away from, as much as I love Ryan Woolridge and had a great year at Gonzaga. Ryan Woolridge was birthed by Columbus Woolridge and Rochelle Woolridge. So you got to do what's best for your kid. That's how I feel about it.
Well, I mean, I think with Keontae. Go ahead, Ani.
And I just think with Keontae, and Craig, you're right. That is something that has been said. But I mean, if you look at the school season, I mean, they went against Oak Hill. They played Combine Academy. He played against Duncan. He performed well. And so I don't. And you're right. That is stuff that's even came across to me. And I don't agree with it. I think whoever you put in front of Keontae, he's going to compete and he's going to play.
Absolutely.
And I just think
I agree.
And Todd Shelton, he said, I think he has a chance of, making money playing basketball, be a pro.
Ani,
yeah.
And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go on the record. This is Todd Shelton putting on the NBA GM hat, right? He not only has a chance to be a pro. Whenever I see Keontae, and I'll say this for the people who don't get his personality, he to me is one of the most humble kids I've ever been around. Humbly.
Oh, absolutely.
I always joke. I said, Keontae, how many you get tonight? He's like, oh, coach, I had 30. I said, no, how many rebounds? Because if he becomes a better rebounder, he has a chance to be not only a pro, but an NBA All-Star. And I don't say that very often about kids this early.
Yeah. I mean, Ben, I get it. You know what I'm saying? We did something similar with CJ. You know, his last summer, we turned down the Nike circuit, RM5, Mo Williams, and the Houston Hoops to go play with Beast Mode on the Under Armour circuit. And people thought we were crazy. They thought I was crazy. Yeah. Hey, how could you do that? I'm like, because it's not what's best for my kid. I got to put my kid in the best situation that I see with the people that I think can help him achieve, his goals. And I mean, I just didn't agree with that.
Craig, and I'm going to jump in and say this, and I use this example, right? If you can play, they're going to find you. I'll give you an example. Absolutely. Marcus Garrett played for Swag House Elite. Swag House Elite. And he's at Kansas. But let me tell you what I liked about the Marcus Garrett move. He wanted shoes from Nike. Shoes from Nike came. Wanted shoes from Adidas. Wanted some Damian Lillards. They came. Wanted these Under Armours that only him and RJ Hampton had on. Got them too.
Yep. When you're independent. Well, but Marcus Garrett had a cheat code now. His high school coach, Paul Graham, is one of the most respected college coaches in the business. Who after they got fired at Colorado, he decided to come back here and coach high school. So Marcus had a bit of a cheat code. Yes, he was a player, but he did have a cheat code. Yeah. He had one of the most respected coaches around making that call and vouching for him. As much as Snoop or Branch said that, they supported him and they got behind him, that's true. But Paul Graham was the voice that any and everyone listened to.
Respected.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll take any questions from anybody following too. We'll take any questions. We're just having a little bit of open dialogue on some Texas recruiting, on DFW players, the landscape, the whole nine. We're just having an open conversation today with some of the guys that have been in this thing for a while. So,
B Bird, let's go.
Let's go, T. Kelly. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'll just say, what is your favorite thing about Dallas basketball? Craig, you've been around for a long time, been in many organizations, have your own organization, have helped a lot of kids, and then same with T. Shelley. You have a guy in the NBA now, even in a guy like Craig, what's my man's name? Royce O'Neal.
Royce O'Neal.
Success stories like that. So
just
talk a little bit about maybe a success story and even just something you love about the Metroplex. And the state.
I love the fact that there's so much talent here. And, I mean, these kids, man, no matter who they play for in the summer, what school they go to, they remain lifelong friends. I mean, I ran into Gary Flowers a few months back in the parking lot of Tom Thumb. Ex-Lincoln Tiger. Gary played at Oklahoma State, Southern Mississippi, and college. Yep. He plays overseas now. And, I just happened to be walking in the store, and he was walking in the store like, hey, what's up, Gary? Oh, what's up, Coach? Coach, how Tommy doing? Asking me about Tommy Moffitt. Tommy played at Irving, went to UTA. I mean, I talked to Tommy, a few months ago. I need to call him. I mean, just, these dudes are friends, man. They go to war, they play hard, but they are friends. It's a family.
And I think what Craig is saying, Craig doesn't even understand this. He's saying this by default. The reason why these kids get dragged back and forth is because of adults. Once adults get involved, a lot of things get messed up. Because I believe naturally most of these kids have good hearts, they're innocent, and then they get diluted, polluted by basketball, by the adult side of basketball.
the business of basketball.
The business, yes. Yeah, Craig, right there.
Yeah.
T. Shelley,
I agree because I was talking to a player a couple weeks ago, and he's a kid that is in the national rankings. He said, "Man, sometimes basketball just isn't as fun anymore. Especially when they kind of involved into politics." Is that something that you guys experienced in y'all's time or heard?
Well, Ani, with so much money involved, man, I try to tell kids like this, especially regular high school kids. Let's just say we take the Conference USA player on down. It might not be as much hype around it, but once you start getting with kids that are able to play in the Big 12 or the ACC, it's a business, and it's a business on every level. I tell people like this: the Division III kid is putting in the same work for the most part, except in the summer maybe because of Division III rules, that the Division I kid is putting in, but they're right. On a chartered bus or a van or a people mover versus a chartered plane. So, this is a business. Once you get to a college level, people are getting fired. People's families are dependent on 17 to 23, 20-year-old for your kids for their livelihood.
Yep, it is a business, man. And my son has said the same thing to me. He's in college. Said basketball is not fun anymore. I said, son, basketball is still fun. You just don't like the business. But you can't tell me that on game day you're not having fun. Speaking of you're right.
Speaking of the business, sorry to interrupt you, Craig. The question's being asked. I want to ask the panel what they think about the media in Dallas. So I'll let T. Shelley go with that first. You're a little bit a part of the media, a little bit with Texas Prep Report.
A little bit. So let me tell you what I say this all the time. I do media. I'm not a media guy. Let's get that understood. But I do media because I help the kids. But I honestly think the media in Dallas is good between Ani shares his reports with me. I'll share my report with Ani because maybe I forgot about a kid or maybe I didn't think about a kid. I think Buff has done a good job. I think who else is out there? Paul Miranda. Even though Paul is Paul gonna say what the hell is on his mind, and I like that. I like the straightforwardness. And I think the Dallas media, we get along a lot better than maybe in Houston. We might fight between each other or argue about a kid, but I think it's all love, people support. This is just for me. Other people might have different experiences, but Branch does a good job. I think Andre Poe, Brandon Jenkins. There's a lot of dudes out there that do a good job. And one thing I like about Andre Poe is like me. He'll be in the back gym. And speaking of that, I want to just say rest in peace, Lou Hill. One of the things I remember about Coach Hill, this is a true story. It might have been at you and Branch's event, Ani, at Cedar Hill. I'm in the back gym, and it's just me and Lou Hill back there. So I like dudes that don't mind getting up in the trench. Everybody knows who Keontae George is. Everybody knows who Marcus Garrett is. Everybody knows who Colin Smith is. But what about maybe, the Jay Matthew from Grand Prairie that I saw last night that can play Division III basketball? So I think the Dallas media is great in my personal opinion.
I agree. I mean, but I gotta, me too, Shelley. I gotta put a different spin on it. I remember when Buff was running his team, the Blueprint 5, and he transitioned from doing his team to being a media guy because he saw a need and a niche and he slid into that. You know what I'm saying? I remember when Paul was just running around with his son, Jules, and he didn't think that his son was getting some of the love or credit, and not just his son, but some other kids similar to his boy. So he kind of slid into the media role as well. And I don't begrudge them at all, man. I think they saw a need and slid into it nicely, and they're doing a great job. You know what I'm saying? You got to give them both credit. They're doing a heck of a job. You know what I'm saying? But it's so many kids here, so much talent here. I mean, let's take Isaiah Stevens at Colorado State, who went to Allen. No one thought he was that good.
No, I did. I did. I listen.
Okay.
Call Tim Jankovich and ask him.
I'll say I figured it out later. I didn't figure it out. I kind of missed on. I didn't figure it out.
In hindsight, he was the second best guard behind Tyrese Maxey in that class.
But Craig, Craig, this is what I'll say this, and I'm about to piss some people off, and I really don't care. A lot of these dudes don't work, man. Like, I try to tell these parents, like, I used to put college basketball coaches on a pedestal until I got in college basketball, right? There's no way that a Jordan Roberts be walking around with no Division I scholarship offers. But this is what happens. Dudes hire dudes that they were their roommate, that they were their buddy in college, that they bought free lunch with, and they don't know the game. But they trust these dudes. And I'm like, listen, why would you keep trusting a dude that keeps bringing you bad information? And I'll say this, and I don't really care about, maybe I shouldn't talk about politics. It's like with Donald Trump. I know what I'm getting with him. I'm getting a bad haircut. So I don't know if Craig Robertson cut hair, but I'm about to go see if Craig can cut my hair. So I don't understand why you keep listening to dudes that aren't bringing you, like, the results. But you're I trust that guy. Well, you know what? If you keep not bringing me, I'm going to go try to trust somebody. I'm going to get my hair cut by Craig Roberts. I don't even know. Craig bald-headed like me. The only person on this panel that got good hair is B. Burton. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Well, man, I mean, it's different, man. I mean, let's use our boy as an example, Tony Benford. When Tony Benford was an assistant,
I'm not talking about. I can't. I got to plead the fifth. But go ahead.
Okay, I don't have to plead the fifth. I've known Tony Benford since I was in high school, over 30 years. When Tony Benford was an assistant at New Mexico State, not New Mexico State, but at New Mexico and at Marquette, we could pick up the phone, call Tony Benford, and tell Tony Benford he need to go see somebody, and he was right there, no questions asked. He got the head coaching job at North Texas. Hey, Tony, you need to go see so-and-so and so-and-so. Now you got 9 million questions. He's probably not going to be good enough for me. And things didn't work out well for him at North Texas. And I told him that. I said, Tony, you used to listen. Then you got the head job at North Texas and you stopped listening.
But you know what it is, Craig? So I told somebody this. And actually, I can talk about this because me and Coach Benford have argued about this. I told him, I said, listen, when I lost the game at Haltom to Richland, right, I didn't sleep just like Coach Benford at North Texas. The only problem is you're making more money. You're right. The stakes are higher. But the JV coach at North Crowley, if you love basketball, you're losing the same sleep as Mike Krzyzewski.
Absolutely.
But I tell people what helped me is I was able to run a test run at Gatesville. There was no stakes involved. So when I got to Haltom, it was fine-tuned. But I think sometimes with these assistants that get head coaching jobs, they've never been a head coach, either an AAU or a JV coach. A lot of them have been in college all their life. So they get there and they get nervous because they haven't had any practice. And it's a lot of stakes. I'm not making an excuse for Coach Benford. Hey, we lost it. I was part of it as well. But I sat in the office and saw the pressure that you have, and also you're a black man. So that's also added pressure because you don't get a second chance. Now, I think Coach Benford will have a chance to get a second chance because he's clean cut, he's well spoken. But a lot of times you don't get a chance, and you haven't had practice to fine tune your craft in the role that you're in. I mean, think about it. Coach Benford has been a college coach, other than because I know Coach Benford. T. Shelley, I've been doing this for 35 years, right, or 28 years now. So I know the only head coaching experience that he had before North Texas was like an 8th grade private school job 25 years ago. Right? And so that's a lot of pressure when you have to listen to people that you want to trust, but I don't know. It's a very difficult situation, Craig, and I can only talk about it because I was there, and I was there when they came to us March 3rd and said, "Hey, we need your keys in a week."
Yeah, you were there.
So quick transition. T. Shelley and C. Rob, Any last words you kind of want to say closing out? We're gonna bring in Rossi as well. Let him kind of chop it up with you guys for a second, and then we'll let him kind of have his ISO time too. So we'll go Craig, then we'll go T. Shelley.
Man, just the state of Texas, man, period. Not just the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but Houston, Central Texas, Austin, San Antonio, Killeen. It's talent rich. And with COVID rules, with no one losing a year this year, it's going to be tough for high school kids. It's going to be really tough. A lot of kids are going to fall through the cracks and go to some lower level schools. And these lower level schools in the next 2 to 3 years are going to be playing some of the mid to high major schools. And they're going to have a chance to beat them because they got players that normally they probably wouldn't have had.
Well said. Well said. Let's go T. Shelley.
Here's my deal. Look at the camera. If you are a Division I basketball coach from Conference USA down, and you do not go offer Jordan Roberts, I don't care if you have a fifth-year senior coming back with 16 kids, you deserve to get fired. Jordan Roberts is a bucket. That's all I got to say. He's a bucket, dog.
Only one T.
Jordan
Shelley.
Roberts is a Division I basketball player. I agree.
So what'd you say, Ani?
I said
Honey,
Jordan Roberts is a Division I basketball player.
Yeah, so people are sleeping. So when you get fired in April, in the words of whatever, don't cry for me, Argentina. I can't cry for you, dog. Jay-Z said, I can't see it coming down my eyes, so I got to make the song cry. That's what it is.
T. Shelley with his last words. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Well, appreciate you both for coming on, man. Definitely, we'll have to have you back. T. Shelley, appreciate you being unfiltered. And C-Rob, his family, praying for everything to go well with your granddaughter and her surgery as well.
Oh, man, I appreciate you, man. The surgery was successful. She's in recovery, and hopefully we will be bringing her home, the next couple of days.
Good. Well, appreciate you guys again, man.
Appreciate you having to be Burton. ISO Ani, I like that name. ISO Ani, I like that.
It fits him, right?
Yeah, I like that. All right, boys.
Yeah,
Right,
24 dribbles and I take a jumper.
All right, we're gonna go from Dallas to Houston, get straight to it. We're gonna bring in. It's gonna be a different groove now. We've been at the club a little bit. Now we switching to the lounge. That's how it's gonna go. So we're gonna bring in Rossi Karen from Houston, from Basketball University, from this company, that company. He got about 6 companies, so we'll let him tell about all of them. But Rossi, what up, my man?
What's going on, Burton? What's going on, Ani?
We're here, man. We're here. We're here to talk about some. We're gonna change gears a little bit. It got a little bit intense right there. It was some unfiltered, but it was good. It was good. Okay? So yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. So Rossi is you're doing some great things now. You did some phenomenal things with Basketball University. Tell us a little bit about the journey and some of the things you were able to do with grassroots with BU.
It was an interesting journey. You and I have had multiple conversations about this. I did grassroots basketball for almost 17 years, and it was a unique experience. Anybody who's been involved in grassroots know, the highs and the lows and the joys and the sorrows associated with grassroots. But I enjoyed my time in grassroots. We had a great run there with Basketball U. I'm just excited to be on the show with you guys. I'm happy to be here, but I'm looking forward to the future. But Teddy and I and Burton and I, we always kind of reminisce about the good old AAU days. So I don't know if I missed him or not though.
No, you're good. You're good. I'll pass to Ani. Let him get one in. What you got, Ani?
Ani, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in 3 years, man.
Rossi, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you. You doing all right?
No, it's on time. Yeah, that's accurate.
Has it been 3 years?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just working at it.
Has it been 3 years since
I had a question.
Ani, I think you might be close.
When was you ran that event out in Houston Christian?
That was probably maybe 2 years ago. It's probably been 2 years since I've seen you.
Yeah. About probably 2. 2 years.
We're getting love from Rossi. Yeah, so just talk about BU real quick before we talk about what you're doing now. How you were able to build it? What were the success stories? What were the struggles? What did you learn about grassroots? What was it like having an inside view to that?
So I started Basketball U in 2004, 2003, and I started really training kids on their driveway. So I started with one kid out in the Memorial area, and it just kind of evolved into a grassroots program. I never wanted to coach. Like, that was never something that I was interested in doing. And I definitely never had any interest in coaching AAU. My expertise at that time was player development, and I enjoyed working with young kids and kind of helping them develop. And it was my goal that I could help kids kind of have some of the same basketball experiences that I had, and to have some of the same opportunities that I had to play at the collegiate level and get a free education. And just over time, the program grew into 300 plus kids with 16 or so teams. But that was never my goal. I never got in it to be an AAU coach or to run a grassroots program. I think the best part about grassroots is being able to watch kids kind of grow and develop and achieve some of their goals. I think that the downside of it, I think, is the parents. Man, the parents are nuts. They're nuts. And not all of them, but I think that before social media, I think it was about their kids developing and having a good time, having a good experience, and being a better kid, a better player. But I think once social media hit and you can see who was getting what offers and what kids were committing to what schools, I think it created a level of envy and jealousy for parents. And then everybody said, well, hey, this kid has an offer from, Duke or Kentucky or wherever. Why doesn't my son have those level of offers? So I think that, to me, that was when grassroots kind of turned into a headache. But again, I had some great experiences. Got a chance to work with a lot of really good kids and good coaches, and I'm happy for my time that I had in grassroots basketball.
Yeah, job well done with it too. What would you say was kind of one of the more proudest things that took place during your time in grassroots that you could say, you know what, looking back, I'm really proud of this? What would be one or two of those things?
I think probably the things that I'm probably most proud of is that, and not just myself, but guys that were a part of it. I mean, Teddy Wheeler had a huge hand in helping, grow the program and take the program to another level. But I think the thing that I was most proud of is that we were able to build a brand, a national brand with a really good reputation. And the things that were the foundation of our program when we first started, which was player development. And, I think that was something that we held firm to throughout our process. I don't think we ever got away from that. I think when you talk about Basketball University, I think player development, guys learning and growing and kind of finding undervalued kids and into better players and achieve some of their dreams. I think that was something that would be synonymous with Basketball U. So I was proud of the growth of the program, but that we stuck to our fundamentals, which was player development and teaching guys the game.
We got a quick comment from Corey Michael Henderson. Said Rossi Kern's a great guy who cares about kids, always honest with parents and kids. Great when you can have that type of reputation. You mentioned Teddy Wheeler, your right-hand man, 100 grand. We're going to bring him into the studio. We're going to try to bring Ani back. ISO Ani. You never know what you're going to get from Ani right now with his ISO world. Got his fadeaway t-shirt on.
Yo, that's a great nickname, ISO Ani. Who came up with that?
You already know who came up with it.
Bird came up with it.
That's an unbelievable nickname.
Yeah, I'm going to take about 24, 25 dribbles. I'm going to take it.
Hey.
Efficiency is not his thing.
That's AAU basketball, man. You dribble the air out the ball, and then shoot.
There you go. I was at a game last night, saw about probably 4 or 5 times. So I'm like, hey, ISO. I ain't mad at you.
It didn't shoot a fadeaway. It didn't shoot a
fadeaway. That's why they're going.
Now you got to go with the hard and sidestep 3-ball.
This is true.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring in Teddy Wheeler in the building. We're talking BU, talking AU. Teddy, what up, man?
What's going on? Thanks
Teddy
for having me.
Wheeler.
Looking
Good,
fabulous.
Teddy.
Looking fabulous. I like it.
They got
Thanks for having me. You guys are
Yeah,
good
no
today?
doubt. We're good, man. We're gonna tell you. Rossi told a little bit of the BU story and what he was most proud of. I'll let you tell a little bit about the journey, how you guys got connected, and tell the BU journey from your perspective.
I think that I don't know how many years ago. I was over 10 years ago because I think my oldest son was probably in the third grade at the time. So you're talking about 9 or 10 years ago. I was doing an event at Wheatley High School, and I knew Rossi had a couple teams, and so I invited his team to come out, and he brought his group over. I think that was our first interaction. And then from there, we kind of stayed in contact, and we got introduced by a mutual friend again years later about trying to find a home for the team that I was coaching that had some dudes on it, had several good players on it, and so that's kind of how we linked up and how we met. And
Wendy's parking lot.
yeah, we were in the Wendy's parking lot, and he was selling me on the idea of getting my group to join his. And what's interesting about it was obviously with a team that was as popular as that group of kids, we had conversations with different guys who were reaching out. They knew I was kind of ready to move around, and he was kind of selling me on the idea of being part of something that could, help the kids develop, get better individually, but also collectively be kind of, get treated, using my own terms, but get treated like the elite team in the organization. And when you go to some organizations as an 8th grade team at the time, I think it was, they were 8th graders. The 17U team takes precedence usually over all the other groups, right? So my team kind of came in as like the team that was going to be the launch point for the organization. And I thought those kids did a really good job of kind of building a reputation for themselves, but also for the program. We won some really big games and started making Basketball University not necessarily a feeder for another program, but a destination spot. So that's kind of how we launched it. And then it got momentum. It started becoming a tidal wave, and we started just knocking things over and moving how we thought was the right way to do it. So it was a lot of fun, because I like to compete. I like to coach. I like to be around guys who have a chip on their shoulder, who have something to prove. And I thought those guys embody what we want the program to be.
We got another quick comment from Corey Henderson. He says the legend himself, Teddy Wheeler, another great guy who cares about kids and is always honest. So showing mad love and respect. What would you say you're most proud of, Teddy? We'll talk about your son obviously having enormous success at the college level at Georgia as a sophomore now. But what were you most proud of in creating something with BU and taking BU to a level that ultimately most people would say from a national standpoint and from a local standpoint was, arguably one of the best, if not the best, locally, and then, nationally, to be able to have a McDonald's All-American, to be able to, have a guy on the USA doing USA training. I mean, you guys had enormous. I think you had the number one player in the class 3 years in a row, or 4 years in a row. 4 years in a row, 4 classes in a row. So
4 classes in a row.
About what you were most proud of.
Well, as a coach, I had proud moments, and I'll talk about those later on. But just, I think I was most proud of working with Rossi, having like 2 black men who are obviously confident guys who have a level of expertise, but we're able to collaborate and stick to the plan. So a lot of times, we don't see black men get to the finish line. Like they gotta involve somebody else, or they feel one has to be, put ahead of the other one. They struggle with the collaboration part. And I'm most proud that we were able to kind of talk about a plan, put it in motion, and then see it to the finish line and do it really at the highest level of grassroots. So I'm most proud of that we didn't get in each other's way. There was no rifts. You know, we got into it over minor things, but it was nothing that ever moved the needle towards us having to separate. And we were a decade strong in building it, and it takes a lot of sweat equity to go from where we started to where we finished that thing up. So I'm most proud of that. The second thing I will talk about from a development standpoint is getting guys who are overlooked and getting them to play the way they needed to play to be able to maximize their talents, right? So we would have guys who typically weren't recognized in the state rankings, recognized locally, and those guys end up Division I basketball players to achieve scholarships and have their pick of schools and have great opportunities to get free education and be able to capitalize on those opportunities. I think that's something to be proud of as well. And the third thing I would say as a coach, my most proud moment was competing against the NBA Coach of the Year, former NBA Coach of the Year, Sam Mitchell, who had someone who was considered to be in the running for the number one pick in the draft, Jalen Green, and we beat that team, and I thought we out-executed them. So that was affirmation for me as a coach, but it was also affirmation that I could take a team, develop them, and compete at a super high level. And my son was the best player on the court that night. So that was a lot of affirmations for us all. But for me specifically as a coach, you want to coach against really good coaches. You want to coach against guys who can make in-game adjustments, who you respect. And I certainly respect what Sam Mitchell has accomplished as a coach. So to win that game was an ultimate feather in my cap.
So so in your 10 years, and like Coach Brian Burton talked about, I mean, y'all accomplished a lot of things for us players.
Yeah.
I mean, put down the list of Charles Smith, even Suleiman, who people didn't even know.
Yes.
Helams, you had Miller Kopp kind of grew into y'all had him early on. Just talk about the hurdles that you had to endure in the early stages.
Yeah.
Kind of building, and also I want to talk about, I know when you get to a certain point, it's also difficult to maintain. I know there's some hurdles there too. So I kind of want y'all to talk about just some hurdles you had to go through in both.
Let's let Teddy go first, and Rossi go first on that one, then Teddy go next.
Okay, cool.
I think from a hurdle standpoint, it was probably just combating misinformation. I think when you're in grassroots, parents have so many options, and there's so many people recruiting kids to their programs, and everybody has their own niche, their own lane. But one of the things we really tried to hammer home and kind of lay a foundation for is that the only thing that matters in grassroots basketball is development. And I think people got caught up initially, and then when we first started, we weren't a shoe team. We were kind of a local team, a regional team.
We were just beating the shoe teams.
But I think people got caught up in travel and shoes and free gear, and playing again, on this stage, and I think people lost sight of what mattered the most is being good enough and continuing to develop. Because just because you're the best player in the city or in your region or even in the country in the 8th grade doesn't mean that you're going to finish that way. So I think early on for us, it was just kind of helping to educate parents on what's the most important thing. And it's not shoes, and it's not travel, and it's not how nice your uniforms are. It's are you learning the game in a way that's going to help you be successful, and then ultimately translate to the collegiate level. And I think that we were able to accomplish that. But it did take some time to help people really understand what grassroots basketball is about. The foundation of grassroots basketball, the most important thing in grassroots basketball, is to learn and grow as a player.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you can go ahead next, Teddy. Kind of on his question.
Let me add something to that. I think that what was a challenge for us, and it's still a challenge for me, is I like to be transparent, and I like to be honest in terms of what I'm telling the player. And sometimes that may not be what they want to hear, right? So they may be hearing something completely different from another coach, another handler or trainer, whatever you want to call it. And so, my job or my responsibility as a coach is to get them ready for the next coach. I'm trying to take their game that next step to that next level so they can be prepared for the next situation, but better than they were when they met me. And I think that sometimes, parents or the players themselves, they don't always want to hear that. They don't always want to know what they need to work on or how they need to play or being held accountable. So I think as we got bigger and had better players, and those players that we had when they were younger developed into more marquee guys where they could go somewhere else and be the star player, they got told that they were able to do things or wanted to do things that ultimately the next coach wouldn't allow them to do either. So that became a sore spot for us, in some conversations with some players who grew up in the program, developed in the program, and end up, have an opportunity to play elsewhere because sometimes someone else just, told them they could eat ice cream for breakfast, but that may not be what's best for you. So I think that's probably one of the things that is disappointing about the whole process of grassroots. But I've learned not to take it so personal. The only people that I know, that wouldn't work out in that way or have a guarantee is my own kids. Everyone else, I'm just trying to prepare them for the next coach. So that may be as a 15U player, or that may be in college, or that may be somewhere else down the line. So I try not to take it so personal when guys leave. And I also give them the opportunity to come back and get back in the gym and still work out and still get the development. Because if you're doing it for the right reasons, then someone putting on another uniform doesn't change what my agenda is to help guys get along.
Yeah, that's big. I love that you said that because most guys, college or AU, wouldn't necessarily feel that way. And it is about the development. Quick last thing on BU before we talk about what you guys are doing now. What's one thing about the journey, what you guys accomplished, what happened during the time that you would like to, so many times we don't get a chance to say our side of what people may perceive. So I guess if there was anything that was maybe misperceived or what's something that you would love for people to just remember about how it went down in that unbelievable, historic, record-breaking ride you guys had, what would you want them to take away, or what things would you want people to see that maybe they couldn't see, or maybe they aren't giving the light to? They're only thinking about this part over here.
Let me share this first. I think as sometimes along the path, along the way, I'm not telling you what my reputation is, but I think some people perceive my on-court, in the building competitive spirit as that's how I am all the time. If I'm coming in that gym, I'm coming to win that game, and I'm not apologizing for that. And so sometimes my mindset walking in that building, walking into Duncanville, walking into Channelview High School where we had some legendary game, or walking into MI3, I'm ready. I don't want to speak. I don't want to shake hands before the game. I don't want to talk. I want to win this game, and then we can be we can be cordial after the fact. I think sometimes that sensibility, people thought I was like that all the time. I have daughters. I have a wife of 20 years. I got friends that are lifelong. Me as a competitor, I think I put on a certain jacket when I walk in that situation that I think that kind of developed a persona or developed a reputation for me that I don't always wear. Like I'm not always like that. But if you see me, I'm walking in that gym, that's just what it is. And if I've offended anyone, or you guys got a misinterpretation of that, allow yourself to get to know me outside of that gym. It's probably a little different.
That's the mama mentality. That's representing the mama.
No, and that's interesting. And the funny thing is, we didn't talk about in this story, is that when Teddy and I met, even before that team that he had came over to BU, Teddy came. I was recruiting Teddy first. then
Smart.
then Xavier, then the team.
Smart man.
So he
Why
actually
is that though?
So he actually coached 1 year before Xavier even came over. So Xavier was still playing with that other group before he came over. It's because they're only a handful of guys, and and I don't know if it's just in this region of the country that I felt like matched my level of not just passion for the game,
right,
but an obsession, not just a love for the game, but an obsession to learn the game and to teach the game and to know the game. There are guys that are passionate but can't coach, and there are guys that can coach but that don't have great passion. And right. I thought that Teddy kind of embodied all of those things. But he was from a tactical standpoint, he understood the game. Strategically, he understood the game. He had passion. He could motivate the guys, but more so, just the obsession with the game. Like even to 10 years later, like I'm not coaching grassroots basketball, and neither is he now. But we'll still, I may be watching the game at 1 a.m, and I'll screenshot a clip and send it to him, and vice versa. So it's just that level of intrigue with the game and knowing the game and really understanding the game and wanting to grow and be a great coach I thought was something that was that really stood out to me. And with him, it was never about getting attention from coaching. It was just who he was. Like he would coach in an empty gym, I think. And still to this day, he studies the game. He watches games, and he's obsessed with the game. And I thought that was important because when you're trying to build a program, you got to have guys who can really teach.
Right.
And I thought he was the best at doing that.
What about your role, Rossi? Would you say you're most proud of as far as like the visionary? Because sometimes people don't always want to give that guy the credit, and they only saw a certain version, just like Teddy was talking about as a coach. Sometimes they only saw the businessman of Rossi. What would you say to kind of the full circle of what your role was and what you would want people to know?
Well, I think one of the other great things about Teddy coming on board with BU is before that, I was coaching. And once Teddy came on board, I didn't coach again. People might not even realize I probably haven't coached a team in 8 years maybe. But when Teddy came on, it allowed me to kind of step back from the everyday kind of basketball on-court stuff and allowed me to be able to focus on, like you said, like the vision of the program and where we're going next, whether that's, marketing and branding our program or our athletes, or just taking it to another level. And he and I collaborated on kind of what was the next step and how do we stay ahead. And again, I felt like when we were in our prime that we were always a step ahead of what other programs were doing, and not just on the court, the things that we were doing off the court, whether it was things in the community, whether it was commercials or again branding and marketing our athletes. So it allowed me to be able to focus on the vision and the program in its totality, and he could focus more on our players and helping guys get better and recruiting and all of those things. So it was a good combination. It was a good combination, and it worked out.
Yeah, it was really an unbelievable combination, and Teddy touched on it earlier. As two black men being able to run an organization the way you did, such a first-class manner, and have the best player in class after class after class, and then go out and compete and win. It wasn't just about bells and whistles. It wasn't just about marketing and helping your players get exposure. It had the totality, as you put it, of both sides. And it was really run, it's called Basketball University, or it was really run like a university program, at a high level like that. So much respect, man. Could talk about that part all day. Let's talk about what you guys are doing now. I know Ani's going to jump back in. I'll let him kind of jump in too, but let's just go ahead and take turns real quick, just talking about what it is that you're doing now that you'd like people to know. I'll let Teddy go first.
Well, at this stage of my life, obviously I wear many hats. From a professional standpoint, I'm excited about opportunity I'm the catalyst of at Houston Christian High School as a diversity initiatives coordinator. And and we're doing some of the things that we did in the grassroots space, being able to impact the private school community here at Houston Christian. And hopefully, the things that we're initiating, the model that we have set in motion, will get a chance to start permeating other areas of the city. And so I'm really excited about that. I still am the program director with Basketball University. It is an exclusive training company right now. So we still offer 5 days a week, high level training. I'm there, I'm in the gym, I'm coaching. I have a really good staff supporting me. We are really excited about the things and the players that we have going now in the gym. And it's good because we're not preparing, quote unquote, for an AAU season. We're just in the gym making incremental strides and helping these guys get better. And I'm excited about having, working with guys from different AAU programs. They're not as apprehensive about, sending guys over to help them out. So we have, some of the best guys across every class in Houston in the gym, and they're just in there getting busy. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about university sports and continuing, the path that Rossi and I started with, providing elite level events, the preview and a platform, as well as a couple other things that we've launched in the past with Stars and Stripes. And so we got some really good things coming down the pipe, which keeps me busy. I'm also a husband, and I just celebrated 20 years anniversary 2 weeks ago. My children are getting older and helping me stay motivated and stay active, and I'm excited about their futures as well. And as a father, to get a chance to see your children smile and be happy is rewarding in itself. So I got a lot of things going on, and I'm grateful to have some of the opportunities that I do have right now.
Yeah, well said. Well said. We'll talk about the fatherhood. We'll talk about that last. Rock, what you got for us? Well said, Teddy. That was great. We'll let you go next, Ross.
Okay. I got out of grassroots a little over a year and a half ago. And one of the things that Teddy touched on, and Burton, you and I have talked about that, one of the best things about not being in grassroots is the amount of time that I get to spend with my family. I also have a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful daughters. One is 6 and one is 3. So the opportunity to be able to be around my family more and not have to travel all over the country for events is something that's really been really good in this chapter of my life. When I got out of grassroots, I started a sports marketing and events management company called U Sports Group that focuses on neutral site, kind of multi-game college basketball events. And that's something I'm really excited about. And we'll have 2 or 3 events this upcoming year with a lot of the top teams across the country at Toyota Center and at Dickies Arena. So that's something that I'm really excited about. And then also being able to continue to help athletes, through a sports management company that I'm involved with. And it's just helping athletes transition from college to pro. And then once they get there, be able to help them with, everything from selecting an agent to, marketing and branding and community service. So, those 2 things are things that I'm involved in, I'm excited about. And it's really just a continuation of what I did at the grassroots level. It's to be able to put on great events and also be able to help athletes kind of achieve their goals just at the next level. So I'm excited about the new chapter. I'm excited to be able to spend more time with my family. And things are great.
No, absolutely. And one thing, y'all were one of the first people I kind of talked to when I went to Houston when I first started off. It was funny. I went to that gym. I forgot what gym that was, Rossi. You invited me out.
Field Hoops.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what it was. Teddy had them boys. He had his son. He had probably about 15 kids. They were just working. And I remember the kid EJ Jones. He was a 2020. He was out there working with Coach, with big man work. Y'all just had it rolling out there. And one thing I really did like, because y'all touched on development, was you talked about, you were teaching the guys how to attack a zone. It was just training. It wasn't like, practicing. You're just teaching guys how to attack a 2-3 zone, gaps, and all those things. I'm like, damn, like, that, you don't get that. Sometimes you see a whole lot of drill, glitch, shooting, stuff like that, but you guys kind of broke things down to those players. So one thing I do applaud you on, one thing I really just was happy, like every time I see Teddy, just how he gets those Houston Christian boys going with Coach. I mean, I know y'all really are about development, even to this day. Maybe it's not just with the basketball but just with player development, just your boys, like just life and just just life after just getting to high school, and then with the sports management company, just teaching guys, having guys be ready to transition from college to the pros. It's always been about development, and I do. That's one thing I really just just look at, like, man, that's that's great. I always just been very happy and excited to come to y'all's practice, come to y'all's workout, just watch y'all play. You're teaching your boys how to play the right way. So I do have a question though. When we talk about development, do you believe social media, because y'all talk about social media, has kind of blurred people's outlook on the importance of development?
I think so. I think that it certainly has, right? And I think that to quote a scripture in the Bible, it says they have a zeal, but it's not according to knowledge, right? You could be enthusiastic about something and really not know the level of detail that it takes to really be able to help somebody, right? And so I think a lot of times, guys will have, fancy presentations and can entertain players, but really can't help them. And so if you come back to someone else who may not be trying to give you a presentation, but really trying to teach you the game and hold you accountable to play the right way, you may run from that, and it may stunt that person's growth to not stay where it's difficult, to stay where you're being corrected. And so we've seen over the years where, the best 8th grader is not necessarily the best sophomore. The best sophomore may never make an impact in college basketball, so you have to consistently find ways to be challenged, to be motivated, and to train your thoughts, because the game is such a fast-paced game now. Like, you got to be able to internalize information and make reads, at an uncomfortable pace. So I think that that's part of development is being able to break down the nuances. And there's so many people training, so many people gyms, and so many cones are being sold in academy, that there's so much stuff going on and so many options for these kids that I think sometimes the parents and as well as the kids kind of get tricked into what's entertaining and not necessarily what's helping them. So I think that's part of it. And there is no better vehicle to get your message out than social media. So, it's kind of a gift and a curse, in some instances with the basketball piece. But that's kind of the challenge that we have. And it's not just mutually exclusive to our industry. I think it's gone across the board.
Yeah, I think social media is valuable. It's a valuable tool, and I think that our program, probably demonstrated that. 7 years ago we were doing some of the things from a visual standpoint that a lot of the colleges are doing now. So I think social media is valuable, but again, like I said, when we started, it was about development, and that always has to be the most important thing. Like I always say, man, keep the main thing the main thing. And I think that's important. Just like when you said, when you came in, when our workouts, we were working on how to attack a 2-3 zone. Like when you leave a workout outside of dribbling through cones, like an obstacle course, you should have be able to upload or be able to ascertain some things conceptually that you can apply to the game. So I think that it's not just about being able to dribble fast or be able to shoot, but to be able to think the game and to be able to take the things that you learn and to implement those things. And one of your mentors, Alan Branch, he always say that don't translate, coach. That's one of his favorite lines. So I think that whatever things that you're working on in the training session, you have to be able to explain to that kid, hey, we're working on this because, and this is how you're going to utilize this when you get in the game. And you have to be able to show them those things. Because again, you can dribble through cones for years and then get in the game and never be able to beat anybody off the dribble. So I think that being able to teach the game, explain the game in a way that's practical, but to give them tools that they can implement into their game. And again, social media is great, but if you can teach the game, shit, that's social media thing. It won't help you much.
Yeah, we're gonna end you guys.
Branch, he's always been big on the word translate. He's like, coach got translate. Coach got translate.
They don't translate, coach.
And
that's important. That's important.
And that was when I first started. I'm probably.
I think Ani having a little bit of trouble on his end. We're gonna slide in one of the OGs real quick before we let you guys go and let you guys have a quick conversation about the city of Houston. We're gonna sneak one in the studio real quick. We got a little surprise for y'all.
Hey.
What up, Mr. Nelson? How we doing?
Rick, what's up?
What's up, Rossi?
So just real quick, before
Teddy Wheeler.
We let these guys. We're gonna let the BU guys roll in just a second, but as they close, let's just talk about the city of Houston then and now. Any comments or questions you guys have for each other? I'm gonna step out and let you guys roll it.
Say it again, Bert. I didn't hear the last thing you said.
He said the Houston city in the city of Houston then and now.
Yeah, just anything about the city of Houston, just a conversation, whether it's acknowledging something that could be better, something that is great, whatever it may be, that you guys will want to be able to let it be known about the city of Houston. That's where you guys are from. And, sometimes the outsiders, they don't necessarily appreciate like they need to. So whatever needs to be said.
Hey, Rick.
Well, I mean, it's so much you can say about the city of Houston. We've come such a long way. We've come so far in regards to the basketball and be able to have, a lot of great talent to come out of here. One of the things I think that we're probably doing a better job of is maybe trying to work together. And I mean, the adults are kind of working together a little bit better in regards to promoting. I want to use the word promoting, but highlighting our own or taking care of our own kids and not being so selfish as I believe, personal opinion, as we were years ago in regards to just supporting our own. So I think, in my opinion, we've done a better job of supporting our kids. Still got a long way to go. I think we're working together a lot better. You know what I'm saying? I got some projects out there where I've worked with some people in Dallas. I'm working with Jimmy, working with Brian. So some of the things that people that I've worked with 10 years ago was unheard of. Them guys just ain't working together. So I think that, with some of the things that happened to us in the world has brought us together. It's sad those things have happened, but it has brought us together to maybe think outside the box and be, and just treasure life a lot more. And, so it's my 2 cents, man. We can go on and on, but
yeah. What I would like to see in the city of Houston is more a willingness for not just AAU coaches, but high school coaches allow their teams to get the marquee matchups. Like, we shouldn't have to wait to go to Jamboree or the Stars and Stripes or whatever else event to get a high level matchup between elite players. I think so to schedule tougher, whether it's in the grassroots space or in the high school space. I want to see more of the top players playing against each other more often. I don't want to necessarily name names, but I want to see the number one versus the number 2 3 times in a year. Like, why should it only be one time in 2 years?
Well, that's tough, Teddy. I mean, it's tough because you're going back in the day when we had that. They don't do that anymore. Whether you want to say kids are soft, whether we hiding them, whatever you want to say, whatever it is, whatever your excuse is for whatever, not more rankings and all this type of stuff, protecting the kids.
That's one thing I would.
We got kids on summer management or something. They just they can't play this many games. Play one game in a tournament. So I get what you're saying, but
if I could fix one thing individually, I think that would be my contribution. Is like, and I've tried to do that. I'm not trying to just say it. I've tried to do that. I try to embody that. I try to personify that. Like, I tried to schedule, make sure my guys play the best guys and get the matchups that they need.
Come from. So it's your makeup. You came from New York and you came to Houston, you got involved with guys that's what they did. They wanted to play guys. They wanted to be around, guys that had the same mindset, and you put guys that had the same mindset. It's not somewhat the way it is now. You moving into that old school guy, and you go. It's almost hard. Almost hard to have a conversation with a new school guy, because they're in that we know it all mode, and you really just want to pass on knowledge and give them game and give them everything that you have to help their roads be a lot easier. But the millennium students are a little bit different, a little bit different, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay, we just have to do a better job of trying to reach and trying to close that gap. It's gonna take some time.
Yeah,
hey, Rick, I think you made an interesting point about like collaborating, and I think where not just the city but the state of Texas has moved to from a basketball standpoint. Like 10 years ago, people were talking about Texas was a football state, and now when you look at what's going on in college basketball, Texas is probably a top 2 or 3 state, across all college basketball platforms, whether it's players or teams. I mean, if you look at the college rankings, and if you look at the top guys, a lot of the top guys are from Texas and having success. But as far as and I think Buffington mentioned that on social media the other day about how far Texas as a state has come with basketball talent. But when you talked about collaboration, I think that's going to be even more important now as the college basketball landscape changes. Like when you start talking about, next year, the guys that are current seniors will get that year back. When you start talking about one-time transfers, guys, high school guys are not going to have the same opportunities to play at the next level. Those opportunities won't be as readily available. So guys are going to have from different programs, are going to have to collaborate and get creative to try to help these guys, because the reality is college coaches are not excited about high school players anymore. Once the one-time transfer rule kicks in, guys are going to be going after guys that have college basketball experience so that the team can stay old and win games. So I think you hit it on the head with having to collaborate and be creative to help the next generation of high school recruits be able to realize their dream, whether that's going to play at a junior college just to get some college experience, to get your feet wet. But I think guys are going to have to work together to help the next generation of kids.
Right. And you're stronger together. You got all these experience and influences and everybody bringing all their, efforts together. You're stronger. You're just stronger together. You can get more things done, more things accomplished.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Teddy, Ross, thanks for joining, man. I'll let you guys say any last words you got, and then Rick, I'm gonna bring you back in the studio in 2 minutes after they're done.
All right, brother.
Brian, just want to say thanks for having me. I look forward to being on here some more in the future. You guys are doing a really good job, building this platform from the ground up. Not only you're a first-class guy, but you're one of the guys who understand the game. I think you're a real resource to our community. So I want to thank you for having me. Ani, watch you grow as well, Ani. You've done a good job of establishing yourself as being somebody who's in the gym. I hate to see people make opinions of kids and they're not watching, they're not literally there. So much respect to you. And just imparting, hopefully, as trailblazers or people who are trying to push the basketball culture forward, we leave, prints behind for other people to follow, but we're willing to reach back and give somebody a hand. It could be just sharing information, just sharing expertise and be willing to work together. We don't necessarily need outsiders all the time. We can pull it together on our own. So hopefully this is a good launch point for everybody to understand that. And for me, next up is just, getting ready for the preview, March 26th to 28th in Houston. I'm excited about having some really, really good teams come. We're looking to in our new iteration of this event is try to rebuild that middle school scene. My middle son, Montana Wheeler, has a chance to be a pretty good player in this area. So we're looking to do the same things we talked about earlier, is bring marquee matchups, bring marquee games to this grassroots space. And outside looking in, now that I'm not coaching, I could really attack it in a way that's tasteful and try to elevate the quality of what we've been doing in the past. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, always major moves being made, always. And shout out to Montana and the rest of the crew. Tell us, you kind of touched on the fatherhood, but I respect the fact that, the fatherhood and the husband role is important to you as any. We haven't got that from Rossi. We're gonna get Rossi on that before he leaves. But Teddy, man, much respect. One of the best in the game at every aspect that you do, whether it's training, whether it's coaching. You've proven that you brought an intensity to the grassroots circuit that was different. You brought that New York with you that was different, and I appreciate all that you've done for the game.
Another one.
Yeah, for our relationship. You were at my wedding. Not many people, can say that if they were at somebody's wedding that they don't really respect and care about that person. So much respect, man. Excited for what your oldest is doing over there at Georgia, getting busy, and there's more getting busy just gonna happen in the Wheeler family for sure. So we'll have you back soon. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
Rossi, your turn on the mic. So you got closing words, and you did talk about more time with family, but you got to tell us real quick. Shout out to your family and wife and daughters too.
No, man, I'm enjoying the time, and and I know this, the COVID-19 thing and the quarantine, and it's been tough for a lot of people. And fortunately for me, since I spent the last 10 years, running around the country and events and chasing players, and I missed a lot of that time, with my family, and I took time away from my own kids to try to help other kids chase their dreams. So I'm excited to kind of be in a different space now, but I can spend more time with my daughter, and she teach her how to play the piano and take her to gymnastics and all of those things. So I'm excited about being able to do some of those things now. But what you guys are doing is unbelievable. ISO, Ani, Burton, I appreciate you guys having me, and like I love what you guys are doing. And as I talked about a few minutes ago, like all of these resources are going to be even more important to parents and to players as the chapter of college basketball, it kind of turns a page. I mean, you start talking about again, one-time transfer, the G. I'm watching the G League game now. You talk about guys going straight to the G League, and in a few years guys will be able to go to high school straight to the NBA, and name, image, likeness. Like the game is changing like before our eyes, and the game is evolving. And I think that the more resources and the more information that's available to parents and to players, I think is going to be necessary as they navigate, these opportunities over the next 2 or 3 years as things kind of transition. So, shout out to you guys for doing what you're doing, and continue to help and support the basketball community. I think it's an asset.
Yeah, appreciate it. Much respect, Rossi. And I don't want to speak for the young fella down there, ISO Ani, man, but what you created with BU and how you did it. And I don't know that it's ever been done quite like that, for you to take almost that GM role and have a vision and create it and take over a city in a span of time was really impressive. And then now what you're doing to continue to evolve and not only help athletes, but help college putting on events, it's major moves, man. So love the Black excellence, man. Keep it going. Tell the missus I said hello. And whenever this COVID is over, man, I get to hang out with your girls, bring my girls, and we're gonna have a girl dad party, man.
No doubt.
You have one on the way next week, right?
I do. Next a week from yesterday. Yeah, it's going down. So you won't see me on here for a little while.
Yeah. No. Congratulations to you on that. And again, man, I wish you guys much success. And anything I could do to help support what you guys are doing, I love to do it. All right, so Ani, man, it's time to have my wife and kids, man. What's up? What you got?
We gotta get ISO Ani some new Wi-Fi before we do that.
Baby steps.
His Wi-Fi is struggling, but appreciate it again, Ross.
No, thanks for having me, man. You guys have a great day.
Okay, you too. All right, we're gonna bring Rick Nelson back in, let him do his thing. Rick, man, we got my man ISO Ani. He can't get it done right now, but
right now, it's all right.
He'll be back. Tell us the journey real quick, man. I saw it a little bit. I coached against you a little bit back in the day. You obviously had a son that's playing. We'll talk about Coach Lou Hill as well, who your son played for. He plays at Rio Grande Valley. But even before that, I mean, I think the first time I met you, you had Wink Adams and a guy named Gerald Green who's still playing in the NBA. So just talk about the journey, man. Houston Elite, the whole thing.
Man, that's where it all started. Man, it was, I could just it's almost like yesterday when I was at Popeyes and Sonny Vaccaro called me and while I was at the window and asked me could I do this, and basically told me the ins and outs and the dirty parts of the game and said, if you want to do it, let's do it. And I've been rocking with Sonny and Chris Rivers. Chris Rivers is really, really close brother of mine. Still rocking with him today. And my first recruiting class was Gerald Green and Gerald Greens and Wink Adams and Neiman Owens and those guys. That was my first class, man, and it was a good class. That was a way to come in. Not many people come in the business with, like the number one high school player in the country, and I was blessed. And from that, it just happened to springboard to playing a part in a lot of many kids, lives, and being able to travel and do a lot of different things and meet a lot of special people, a lot of special coaches, and make relationships with different people, and they have me, be where I am today. So I'm definitely grateful, blessed, and cherish every moment. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Well said. And not to mention, we forgot one other. There's so many good players that you've coached. We forgot one of Tim Frazier.
My God, Tim.
Another number one guy in the state that his route was much different than Gerald Green's. Gerald Green had the hype and went to high school, went to the pros right away. And Tim Frazier was much different. He was almost not on the radar, and then became, by the end of his senior year, was the best player in Texas. You've had some great ones. He's first class. Go ahead and talk about him real quick.
And Tim was just special, man. He was just hard worker, man. He just outworked you. A guy that lives on the southeast side of Texas town, Channelview, North Shore area, gets up at 5 a.m. every morning to drive on the southwest side of Houston to go to Straight Jesuit, go to practice, leave practice at 5 o'clock, come work out with me, every day, then drive an hour home and do it all over again. You know, these guys just their work ethic was different when it comes to when you what I can say to anybody that's been a part of the Houston League program, they'll tell you your work ethic is different because we work so hard on position specifics and trying to make you a better person and thinking the game and you know the countless days of Tim and Gerald and all these guys who are all these pros is when we get in the gym and just understanding not just the game but just the approach to the game. You know, we would go in and just sit on the floor and just hey, this is your spot, this spot, this just analyze the court
Right.
where you're supposed to be.
Right.
You know, and so those guys were just so detailed and they was just sponges and they just it was and then once you get it, it's easy because everybody want to get it. So it was easy when you have, you know, Gerald and Damian James and Tim Frazier and Jared Vanderbilt. It's easy because they see what has happened in the past and they want to be a part of that journey. They want an opportunity, you know, and it's exciting, man. Like I said, Tim was he just worked, man, and if you didn't believe in him, he made you a believer. You know, he would just go out work you, and he just and Tim's just a blessed child, man. It's just opportunities that come his way, and he sees the opportunity so well, man. He's not a greedy guy. He's humble, man. He's not selfish. He's not. You know, I gotta be a franchise guy. He accepts his roles in whatever situation he in, and he makes the best of it, of his situation, man. And that's just, you know, it's remarkable about the things that he's done, man. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of all the kids, man. You know, I just talked to Wink again the other day. I talk to him all the time, but unfortunately I had to talk to him on a different level the other day with the passing of the Blue. But it was man. We've had some times, man. I had some players, man. I've been blessed. I can truly say I've been blessed.
Hey, Rick, Zondy.
Yes, sir. What's up, Manny?
Not much. You talked about Tim Frazier, just his work ethic, and the guys that you had that are playing professionally in their work ethic. What would you say? What advice would you give to a kid that wants to play at that level? What does the work ethic need to look like? You talked a little about Tim, but what does someone that's trying to get there? What does their work ethic need to look like?
You know, I still remember one of the times when I still remember the conversation. Gerald Green called me, and he wanted to go to the NBA, and he called me and he said, "Nelson, I really want to go to the NBA." And I said, "Gerald, you're just not going to do what it takes to go to the NBA." I said, "I'm not saying that you can't make it, but you're not going to do what it takes to get to the league." And he just said, "You know," I said, "It's just going to be some dedications. It's going to be dedication. You're going to have to make some sacrifices. I don't think you're willing to do those things." And I just told him to think about it. Think about it. He called me back about 3-4 days later. It was like about midnight. I still remember it was midnight. And he said, "Nelson, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. Whatever you tell me to do, I do it." I said, "I'll be at your house at 5 a.m. in the morning." And from there, you have to be willing to listen. You know, first you have to make your mind up what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You have to make your mind up this is what you want to do. You got to figure out what the hell you really want to do. Because everybody wants to get to the league, but you don't want to do what it takes to get to the league. You know, what you see is NBA guys doing their thing, but you don't see behind the scenes, the late nights, the heartaches, the crying and the fussing and cussing. You don't see that part. You know, you get to see you see the rewards.
Yeah. Right.
Big checks and those types of different things. You don't see the work. And so, you know, one of my things I would tell kids is first and foremost, you need to figure out just what you want to do. You know, I mean, really figure out if this is what you want to do. And you have to surround yourself with people that can help you get there. You know what I'm saying? And and when you surround yourself with people that help you get there, they have to be knowledgeable too of what it takes to get there and how to get you there, because every individual is different. Okay, I can't treat you the same way I treat Brian. I can vice versa. You guys work different, think different, move different. So I got to figure out what's best for you. And so there's a lot of different things that come into play when you start talking about things you want to do to get these guys. And I can just say that's what worked for me. That's what worked for me. So I use a combination of learning the game and my background. So it was a lot of psychological different things. You know, my background is psychology and counseling. So it was a lot of, you know, just a lot of mind things of getting you, convincing you to do something, getting you to buy in. Let's use the word buy in. Getting you to buy into doing what it is we do and what it is going to take you to the level that you're trying to go to. So again, to answer your question, the advice I would give young kids is first you have to figure out what it is you want to do. Once you figure it out, you have to dedicate yourself to doing that. And you have to be honest with yourself. That's the key. Be honest with yourself, because just because this is what you may not put the time in. You may just not be something you really want to do. And it's okay. It's okay to just love playing the game. It's okay. If that's what you want to do, you love playing the game, and you just want to be a great college player, there's nothing wrong with that, man. It's a lot of great guys out there be really successful. There's nothing wrong with that. You're talking about taking it to levels and levels and levels and levels. It's a whole different type of animal. That's a different beast. That's a different mindset. You know, that's connecting with your coaches and connecting with, you know, with college coaches and understanding, you know, little things when, you know, I remember Tim used to call me from Penn State and he'd be frustrated, and just to walk him through those things. When Doc would call me and he would be frustrated, and I'm saying, hey, you need to go, when you on your way to the gym, you need to pass by coach office. Just stick your head in there and say, Coach, is there anything you need me to do? Anything you need me to relate to the players in the locker room? You want to make sure y'all thinking alike.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Thinking the same thing. He might say no, but at least he's going to be thinking like, dang, he ready. You know what I'm saying? So it's levels, man. It's levels to this thing, man. And, you know, when you watching, when you learning plays and y'all going through the offense, are you learning everybody's position? Do you know what everybody's doing? You know what I'm saying? Do you work on your game or you just go to practice? You got to work on your game too. You got to work on you. Them the greats. Them the greats.
Amen.
Them the greats. That's what they do. You got to work on you. You know, so it steps to it, man. And, you know, I guess my first thing is just be honest with yourself, man. You got to be honest with yourself, and you got to surround yourself with people that's dedicated to help you reach your goals.
Yeah, hard to do the honest with yourself part as adults around the kid, for the kid, because part of it, if the kid doesn't have the adults around him that's being honest too, it makes it hard for that kid to really be honest with himself. Right. So
that goes on Millennium kids. I'm Millennium kids, and my kids are guilty to it because they're Millennium kids also, and they want it now.
Right.
They want it now. We live in a microwave world, and what I tell old school guys is you have to lead by example. They do not want to hear no damn war story about what it used to be like, and I used to coach this guy, and they don't want to hear that. They ain't got time. They don't want to listen. You have to lead by example. You have to show them the way. And if they see you doing it, then they're probably more prone to listen and probably do some of the things that you're doing, because they see you not only talking the talk, but you're walking the walk. See, before all we had to do was talk the talk. We sit around, listen to old school, give us some game. We take it and we go and we apply it.
Not the same no more.
They care less about what you say.
We got a surprise guest we're gonna bring in. We're gonna connect Dallas and Houston, and then we're gonna talk about Coach Hill if you got a few more minutes too. But let Coach Vaughn come in the studio for a second. What up, Vaughn?
Oh,
what up?
we got the No Hair Don't Care crew in the building, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, how you feel?
Yeah, man. I'm making it, man. Feeling good. How y'all doing?
I know Ani having a little bit of connection issues. If he gets back on, I know you wanted to ask Vonzell a question before he rolls. So we'll give him a second. But Vaughn, how you doing that way, man?
Oh man, doing great, doing great. Just kind of weird, man. It's cold as heck here in Texas right now in DFW. It's
You're not used
cold,
to
man. I
that,
ain't
right?
used to this.
You're not used to that.
Nah, at all.
So Ani's got a little bit of connection issue. So,
Yeah.
yeah, real quick, just want to talk Coach Lou Hill. So Rick Nelson, your son plays for him, and you've known him for a long time. Wink Adams wouldn't play for him. So definitely want to give him. We did a little tribute for him yesterday on one of our shows.
Yeah.
So definitely want to give him his flowers. He deserves it, and hate what happened to him. Still having a hard time making it seem real because we lost a really great one.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely want to give some flowers to him before you roll, and then Vaughn will kind of lead your segment into by starting talking about that too.
All right.
I'll let Rick go first.
Man, Lou just a special guy, man. I've been I know Coach Hill. Just as many people got many stories, man, about Lou, but I probably met him maybe 20 plus years ago when I was young. I was young. I was, in the business. I didn't know nothing. Just trying to figure it out. And he was recruiting Wink Adams. And he did a really good job of recruiting him. And Lou just was always a man of his word for me. For me, he was always a man of his word. He never, everything Lou said he was going to do, he did. When it came, my experience, everything he ever did, he told me was going to happen. When he said he was going to take care of Wink, he took care of him. When he said he was going to make sure he graduated, he made sure. He did everything that, and he got the best out of it. At the time when Wink went there, UNLV was on the rise and they was coming up, and I think Wink's senior year they made it, to the Elite Eight. They hadn't been to the Elite Eight probably since back in Larry Johnson days, and so it just was able to put you in position to get the best of it. And actually, that was my first recruit. Lou took my first recruit, and that was Wink. And so he's always been true. His son played in my program last year. LJ, got nothing but love for LJ. Hopefully I can get him back this year and continue that path of help him reach the goals that he wants to reach. And he's been great, man. He took my son. I can say it now, at the time when Doc was getting recruited, I wanted Doc to play for Lou. It was only two schools I wanted. It was three coaches that Doc probably could have played for. And, and Lou was one of them. And of course, Scott was one other one. I can mention them, Scott Cross and Henson. That was three at the time that, they just knew Doc since he was like 5 years old and really, was really good to him. And, I wanted him to go, and Doc just wanted to do something different. And he decided to do something else and realized he made some mistakes along the way. And when it was time for Doc to transfer, and I called around, and Brian, you know how it is. I might have called you too, Brian. I was calling, and hey man, he's available. He's going, and it didn't work out for him nowhere else. And Lou didn't hesitate. He didn't hesitate. He just said, "Hey, I got you. He found. I got him. I know he can play."
Right.
He said, "I'm mad as hell. He didn't come to me the first time." He said, "But he said, I understand as young men, we make mistakes. And somebody at some point in your life got to give you a second chance. I'm your second chance." And Doc's always talk about that. He always said, "Man, he gave me a shot. Nobody gave me a shot. Everybody said no. Everybody closed the door." And I tell Doc all the time, that's about life. You never give up. You always keep pushing in life. You always keep, because all you need is one yes. You just need one yes. You need one person to believe in you, and that could catapult you to great success to the rest of your life. You just got to keep pushing till you get that one yes. Yep. And Lou was his one yes. Yep. And he's having, he's doing well. He's paying his dues. He's being excited about his situation. And we just thank him for Lou, his family, his wife Renee. They've been great.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about anything. They've been great. And he got a great staff. Stead, Crown on them. They do a good job, man. So
yep.
Definitely, man. I miss Lou. I'm always cherish the moment that I had an opportunity to talk to him. Saturday night, I talked to him. Saturday night, looked him in his eyes, told him I love him. Told him we was fam. I just remember, hey man, y'all be safe on the bus. Told him I'm gonna check on you tomorrow. And we just talked for a while, man, and just shared it. And I remember telling him, man, it's bigger than basketball, man. We've been brothers since back in the day, and we just laughed a little bit, but it's all love, man. I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss Lou. It's just it's nothing like it, nothing like it.
No, well said, man. We appreciate you coming on today, Rick. Appreciate
you, man. B, you doing a great job, man. I'm always, it pops up, man. I get a chance to watch it. I love watching, feeding in, man. Young guy doing your thing, man. I appreciate it. Beautiful family, beautiful children. I appreciate you allowing me in your space and allowing being able to connect the way we did, man. And you got my man Vaughn, man. He coming by out there, taking over, doing his thing, man. But he's doing a good job too, man. And it's good when I see guys doing their thing, because I just want to see guys be successful, no matter who you are. You be black, white, green. I don't give a shit. I just want everybody to be successful,
right,
and do what it is, and follow your dreams and follow your goals.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you put the work in. You got to put the work in. Be willing to make some sacrifices. It'll pay off in the end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Put love first. All things are possible.
I got a few Rick Nelson stories, but my first encounter was when I coached my first AAU team. I had a kid named Dallas Hunter who unfortunately passed away recently too. But he played for us, and a kid named Anthony Smith, Dallas Hoop Dreams. We played at Lincoln High School, and that's back when Gary Flowers was on the Mustangs and Byron Eaton. And
that's that day y'all cheated me in the gym.
I think we.
Hey, Vaughn, Tony Johnson cheated me in the gym. I'm telling you, that you Dallas guys are different, man. We playing at Lincoln Gym, and the lights don't even work. Half the lights work, the other half of the court, the lights don't work. You know what I'm saying? And then after half, I always get the dark end. My guys came through the goal.
I think we actually won because of Tony hooking us up, helping us out somehow, looking out for Dallas. I think we won it overtime, if I'm not mistaken.
You're gonna make. I never could get a win out of Dallas. I can't get a win of the top guy in Dallas. I don't beat Tony. I can't beat Jazz. I couldn't beat because for whatever reason they knew. Okay, hey, this is what we need done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it was always good. It was always competitive. And I had great times, man. I love coming to Dallas. You hear a lot of people say second home, but man, they show me so much love when I come to Dallas, man. And I just really thank everybody and give much respect to everybody in the DFW, man, because that's fam up there.
No doubt. I have to tell my other Rick Nelson stories next time, but appreciate you coming on, Rick. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it anytime, man. I love it.
Yeah, we'll have you back soon.
Okay, Rick.
Yeah, we got Ani real quick. Shout out to Rick Nelson. We could probably have him on for an hour himself to talk about his journey and the things he's accomplished in the city of Houston and the state of Texas, and still doing great things now. We didn't get to touch on that, but we will. But I'm going to get Ani back in and talk Vonzel real quick, and then Vonzel will close out the show with you.
Okay. Can't hear you, Ani. Can't hear you.
Ani's struggling today. You might have to text me what you got, Ani. He'll be right back.
Okay.
So you got some new news. We can start with that. You got some new news. Well, we won't start with that. We'll just start with your team. We'll talk about your team, your organization, real quick that you're in now. We'll talk about your organization that you're in now, and then that you have now. You've had a few over the time. We'll tell the journey next, but I know Ani, he has to roll to practice, so I don't want to take up his time for his questions. So just talk about Southern Assault first, and then we'll get to the other questions.
Well, Southern Assault, obviously, this is the second year under that name. Actually, it was created by Adidas itself. With YGC 36, when Marcus Smart signed with Puma, we could no longer have YGC 36 on the Adidas circuit. And then obviously got called in the office, and Adidas sat me and Jazzy down and asked us to come together. And has passed away, and it's a tough deal. And you know, still to this day, pray for him and his family and everything. And you know, now you know, Urban is doing their own thing, and we're doing the same, but we still family.
Yeah, so a lot of people may not even know that that you guys are not still merged. So you were going to merge. Obviously, we've talked about Jazzy before, but you know, much respect to him and his family after that tragic loss of him passing. So now you are separate, and Urban is separate. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So talk about real quick the Southern Assault. You guys have played some games this season, right? High school season, due to COVID and some of the things that are going on. It may not have been the normal team, but you guys did put some stuff together to be able to allow some guys to play.
Yeah, really what that was Dallas St. Mark's. Obviously, they have 4 kids from my organization. They school shut down and was suspended for a time for COVID. And kids needed to play. They wanted to play. So we took that team and played under the Southern Assault name. So I just made sure they was all in Adidas. I said, I don't care about everything else, but no, you can't wear no other brand, wear my uniforms. Yeah, we just got to playing, man. Had some good success. You know, the team was really obviously was based around Colin Smith and Harrison Ingram. Had Taylor Skowski and you know Corbin Opera. And, you know, it was a good group. You know, we competed. We ended up going 3-1 over that weekend. So it was a good deal.
Good. So I got Ani's question. He had to roll. He's got to put his coaching hat on. Coaching his squad over there. So his question: landscape. How have things changed since you first started? And go ahead and tell the journey too, because you've had Brandon Bass Elite, you've had Marcus Smart, you've had this team, that team. I don't even know if I can remember all of them, to be honest. Talk a little bit about the journey. Talk about the journey.
My journey started when I was 16 years old. Actually, I was going through some bad times growing up in a low-income neighborhood, and going back to how important coaches are to you. Had a coach give me an opportunity to coach a Pee Wee football team, and that Pee Wee football team basically changed my life. It took me out of a lot of bad situations, and we ended up winning a Super Bowl. Actually, that Pee Wee football team was Forest Hill Chaparrals. We ended up winning a Super Bowl that year. And when it was over, you know, when you coaching kids, it becomes so contagious that, you know, being a role model to kids, not a role model basically, but someone that kids look up to and go to for advice and lean on, I didn't want it to stop. And my mom, I didn't know what to do because at the time I played basketball, but I was one of them low IQ players. I couldn't coach the game because, you know, I just didn't study it enough or wasn't loving it enough to be a coach. But my mom came to me and she was like, Vaughn, why don't you take this football team and start a basketball team? Well, we took that team and we was the Fort Worth Outlaws. And we played under that brand, under that name for 3 years. We lost every game for 2 years. The first 2 years, we lost every game. That third year, we was losing just like normal, but I was just happy to be around the kids. And we were at Fort Worth Hall's gym, and we won our first game. And the team was very excited. Everybody was, you know, high-five and excited. So, you know, you give each other 5, give the other team 5, you know, saying good game. Got down to the end, and I had to shake the coach's hand. The coach looked me in my eyes, and he said, "You'll never be as a coach." And that's where my life changed from that moment, that moment there made me so motivated. And I got to the point where I started going to camps. I started studying, videos, sitting in the office with college coaches, learning and asking a lot of questions. And it went from there, and we started getting a lot of players that wasn't from Fort Worth. So, they was from Fort Worth, but it was pretty much spread out. So me and a guy named Terry Turner, we had the top 2 teams in the city that following year. So we took my best 5 and took his best 5. We put it together and we called it Team Fort Worth. And we got to traveling around and we started winning, MAYB national championships and stuff like that. We winning all these national championships. And then that resume moved over into everybody, kids from Dallas wanted to be a part of the organization. So we was like, hey, we can have all these Dallas kids and still be called Team Fort Worth. So we became DFW Select. And we had a really good group, with Ronnie Moss, Brandon Fields. We had a lot of talent, like Montreal McDonald. We had a ton of talent. And we got our first graduating class. Everybody went. We had 8 of the 10 go Division I in our first graduating class. Well, it led from that to I ended up kind of merging with Texas Blue Chips from DFW Select. And I was under Blue Chips for 1 year. That's when I had Brian Talley, Kevin Butler, Melvin Johnson, Kendall Timmons. We had a loaded squad then, probably lost 2 games the whole year. After that year, I got blessed and ran into a guy named Scooter Owens, and Scooter Owens was part of the Brandon Bass Elite. And it was a funded organization, everything, and actually met, going into that summer, I ended up, long story short, I ended up meeting a kid that was pretty much homeless, had nowhere to live, took the kid under my umbrella, moved him into my place, and had a really good relationship. Tony Mitchell ended up going to, obviously ended up going to UNT, but I had sent him off to prep school. It was a lot of stuff behind that. I don't even want to get into that one. But we, from there, I was opening a gym for Team Texas, for Marcus Smart then. I was opening the gym a lot for them, the guys to practice in the same facility I was practicing in. So that was a 2-year relationship between us. So it just happened, like everything happened in steps. And Marcus Smart, obviously he was the lead guy on that team. And him and, Phil Forte and all them guys. But we had a relationship because I had Devon Campbell, Jordan Tolbert, Cannon Cunningham. Now then, when we all practiced together, we just went at each other every practice. And Jeff Luster, which was the head coach of the team, Jeff took a job at North Texas as the director of operations. And when he did that, he called me and he said, hey, our team needs you. I said, what you mean? He was like, everybody, we want you to be the head coach of the team. Like, what do we have to do? And I was like, hey, I don't know what we have to do or whatnot, but let me think about it. And just so happened it worked out, and started coaching them guys. We won, back-to-back Adidas championships. And that second year happened to be on national TV. And when that second year was on national TV, it's so crazy how life goes in a circle. We won that national championship. We beat Shabazz Muhammad in that championship game on national TV, and I had to move. When I got back to Texas, I had to move. My family was moved. We was relocating, and the last thing on the truck was a trophy. Was that championship trophy? And I'm walking down coming off that truck, and I look up, and my neighbor was the same coach that told me I'd never be shit as a coach. And he was looking right at me. He just gave me a thumbs up and told me I was wrong about you. And that resonated, and it gave me, you know, I was happy. It was crazy how life went back in a circle. But then obviously, Mark Smart goes to the NBA, and he wants to start his own organization. We was YGC 36. Didn't know we was going to be a shoe team until the week of the first gun stop. And I'm the type of person, once I'm motivated to turn something around, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put all my effort into it. First year we was 0-8. Second year we was 2-6. Third year we was 4-4. The fourth year we were 5-3. And the fifth year we were 8-0 and national champs. And obviously then Marcus signed with a Puma, and then we couldn't use his name anymore. So now we're Southern Assault. Kind of brought that Assault name back. And that's it.
Yeah, quite a journey, man. Quite a journey.
Yeah.
What's some of your favorite success stories so far, Vaughn, that you'd like to share? Obviously, I'm biased towards one Isaac Likely, who I recruited. Probably the only guy that I recruited or was a part of recruiting and signing to from your organization. And
yes.
I started when I was in AU, and we talked about this with Rick Nelson, but I think I was at UTA's one of their other side gyms, and the first time I played against Team Fort Worth, and you had Montreal. McDonald. I think Craig Roberts was with you then.
Yeah, Craig Roberts,
taking it all the way back. So I've seen the evolution in all the different teams, and one thing you've done at elite level is win. You know, you talked about that just now, but your organization has won no matter who you've had in it, which I respect that part, because that's not easy, but that part has been constant. No matter what the name is, no matter who the players are, you figured out a way to win with them. So what's some of the things that you're proud of about your organization and the things that you've done so far, or your time since your organization has changed?
Well, for me, I think one of the biggest changes for me was the expectations. Like, it's easy to hunt, but it's difficult when you're hunted. And it makes it so hard because a lot of times you walk into those games, you looking like, okay, it's a guaranteed win. Well, that's no longer the case, because now you're everybody's goal to beat. And which I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, I love it like that, but like either with me and my staff, we are so driven, and our head stays down. Nobody get cocky. Nobody is arrogant. Nothing like that. Everybody just work, and we work like we have never won a game before. Like we're trying to get our first victory, and that's our motto as an organization. But you know, I think one of our most successful teams, like obviously the team with Marcus Smart, that was pretty much expected from us. You know, we probably lost 2 games in 2 years, but the team with Harrison Ingram, that 2019 YGC 36 team, a lot of people don't realize. Besides Harrison Ingram, you look at our team, our roster, we had a bunch of kids that was cut, that wasn't good enough to play for other brands. And out of our 10 kids, 9 was unwanted in other places, said that they wasn't good enough. People would call me and say, man, hey, this kid interested, but I don't think you can win with him. This kid can't help you. You know, we had to cut him because of this. We had to cut him because of that. You know, every single kid, you know, and we won the biggest, one of the biggest shoe circuit championships with that team. And, you know, we went, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Harrison Ingram in his 2 years with me was 63-3 or 60-3, something like that. But we had a bunch of kids that had a chip on their shoulder, and everybody wanted to win. And everybody bought into their role. Nobody complained, anything like that. That was probably one of my most joy. It was no drama. Everybody loved each other. That was probably the best overall team I've had. Yeah.
You've had a lot of good ones too. You've had a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
Let's talk if you can do this, and I'll make it 10 to make it easy for you. And I know, and not necessarily favorite, but top 10 guys that you had, not necessarily by position, just overall. And then let's talk about some of the guys in college basketball now that are playing well. Grant Sherfield just got Mountain West Player of the Week. He's one of yours. Isaac mentioned so many. So let's do those guys first, and then you can segue into the top 10.
Man, besides Grant Sherfield, Kyle, Jalen Wilson. Jalen Wilson playing very well. I know he went through a little slump, but he's still averaging 12 and 7 in the Big 12, so can't really take much away from Jalen. But yeah, Grant Sherfield, Mountain West Player of the Week. Kyle Elwoods, and then I got a kid that a lot of people said couldn't even play at the high major level. Said he was a low major guy. Julius Marbles, which is playing. Yeah, he playing meaningful minutes at Michigan State, and he's one thing about myself, and I'm pretty sure you also. You know what it looked like, and it might not show in the rankings, but you know what it looked like.
Yep.
And that's a lot of success. Isaac is a natural winner. He's playing, nicked up right now, but he does a lot of the small things that it takes to win games. And I'm proud of all those guys. Every kid that's from our organization that's getting it done. Julian Larry at Indiana State, he's doing a heck of a job. So it don't get, much better than what we have going right now, with our kids. But top 10 overall, man, that's a tough one.
Yeah, that is tough.
That's a tough one. I have to go Tony Mitchell. No order, just top 10. Yeah. Tony Mitchell, Latavius Williams, Brandon Fields, Marcus Smart, Melvin Johnson, Xavier Adams, Phil Forte. Got to put in Harrison Ingram, Grant Sherfield, Jalen Wilson, and I'm still, I could probably go to, Kyle Elwoods.
Keep going. You're good.
Kyle Elwoods.
We'll give you 5 more.
Yeah, Kyle Elwoods. I'm thinking about this, man. I really don't want to leave no kids out because they all valuable to me, and all valuable to to the success and had a huge role in everything. Jordan Tolbert, Cannon Cunningham, Devon Campbell. Devon was a beast, man. Let me think about this. And I had Waverly Austin, Casey Ross Miller.
Yep.
That's about.
Coach Clay's making his claim in the bottom corner. I don't know if you see it.
What are you saying?
He said Isaac.
Isaac. Yep. You're right, man. Them guys, man. We had some heck of a guys, man. George played a huge role in a lot of it also.
Shout out to George Clay. You can go ahead and give him a shout out. You can go ahead and talk about him.
Yeah, shout out George. Yeah, George played a heck of a role, man. We got a lot done when George was with us, and now he's with Trey Young, and I know he'll have a lot of success over there. Him and Shelby, they'll build something special.
Yeah, Coach Clay's done a lot of great things behind the scenes for a lot of organizations in Dallas, a lot of kids, no doubt about it. And great dude, and his son's done some hustling too, doing his own little scouting thing. So shout out to the Clay family and what they do to help kids, man. We need more of it. So keep up the great work, and that's important. We got Henry Sims got a quick comment. He said, "Great nuggets." Dropping some dimes out here. Appreciate it, Coach Sims. I'll just let you go and just say anything else you'd like to say about, just the grassroots state of where it's at in Dallas. And then, sometimes we all feel like we're misunderstood, whether it's one thing or another, and we don't always have a space where we can just say what we wish people would understand about ourselves. So if you had anything you want to add into that, and then just grassroots in general in the city of Dallas.
Yeah, I think grassroots here in Dallas, Fort Worth is in a great place. We have a bunch of great guys. And, me personally, I have nothing against any director or anything like that in the DFW Metroplex, really in the country. Because, and like I said earlier, I don't know if you've seen last week, I pretty much posted, we all co-workers. And our job is to help these kids reach their goal. And, here in Dallas Fort Worth, there's so much talent. There's so much talent, and it causes, you have so much talent, it causes a lot of kids to get overlooked. But coaches, they'll find it. As long as kids keep working, they're gonna be found. But we, like I said, we're in a good place. I feel that we're at a hotbed in Texas. Obviously DFW and then Houston, so like that. We're producing, and it's helping our state at the end of the day.
Yeah, and then just any last words you have on maybe misperceptions or what you want people to know about you that maybe they don't know or don't always perceive.
Now, this the biggest thing with me is that what I learned about this and what I would never want to be. When I was young in this game, trying to come up, the OGs in the game wouldn't give me any advice. Like, I couldn't get any advice from anybody because, obviously in life in general, and in the words of a good friend, Nina, once you become a threat, you become a target. And I feel that when you're winning, when you're producing, it causes a lot of misconceptions, like you're saying. And what I really want, if people that's young, they need advice, they can call me or contact me anytime. I'm gonna do whatever I can to help everybody, and I'm gonna give them that advice. And you can never look at me like, people look at me like I'm arrogant. I'm not arrogant. I'm the same person I always been, and I'm gonna continue being me because I'm not gonna sit here and be fake for anybody. But me as a person and how I came up in this game, nothing in this game was given to me. People look at me like I was given a shoe circuit deal from the first day I started coaching. Nah, in my 27 years, I didn't get my name on a shoe circuit contract until after 21 years. So I had to grind for 21 years to get my name on a contract. And it wasn't handed to me. It was earned, and there was some luck behind it. And people think that if I beat a shoe circuit team, I can get it. I'm good enough for a deal. You can beat 20 shoe circuit teams. That's still not good enough. It don't matter. It don't matter. At the end of the day, it's about how you conduct, how you respect others, how you market your organization, and how you help kids. And you have to be in it for the right reason. That's what's and life is life is about who you know, but who you know doesn't matter if who you know doesn't respect you. You have to be a respected person in this game to be introduced to the right connects to get to where you want to go. And it takes time. It's not going to be handed to you overnight. And that's one of the biggest things. So you can beat a rival. You know, you can beat a rival. A lot of people want to beat you, but if you can beat me by 40, it's still not going to help you. You know, it's best to just, like the same way I did. I had to watch, take notes, and grind. All my guys put their head down and grind it. And that's where we are today.
Got a quick comment from Coach Clay.
Yeah, production.
And then got a quick comment from Corey Henderson. He says, great point, Vaughn. It happens all the time. Sad but true. Be different.
And appreciate you, Corey. Yeah, man, that's one of the things. It just it's like the more you win, the more you hate it. And it's one of the things, like, we should all be together, all you know, appreciate each other's grind, appreciate each other's success. And that's one thing, like, I'm always root for everybody's success, especially from the state of Texas. And that's how it go.
Right. Well, appreciate, Vaughn, you coming on today, man. Thanks so much. Excited for the things you're going to continue to do and continue to get these wins. And I know one thing that's been hard, and I'll let you talk about this real quick before you run, which is, like, how do you help your guys in recruiting now that the recruiting landscape is so different with the potential of being fully approved, the one-time transfer waiver, kids getting their year eligibility back? What's your biggest advice for kids that play for you or don't play for you?
Well, my biggest thing is kids just need to stay the course. These days, with the way it's going now, you have to really be with a coach that's connected, someone that's respected in the game. And, you know, right now, it really looks like you know, a lot of kids gonna have to go routes that they don't want to go. They're gonna have to go lower than they normally would. But I would say just grind. It's all, you know, a lot of it's luck. You need that one game at the right time with the right people watching. And just stay in the gym and like I said, and work. Like, when you're in the gym, stop working on what you're good at. You know, work on your weaknesses. I tell a lot of kids this, you know, and I always ask this also, you know, when you're in the gym, are you working on, how many people work on defense when you training? You wouldn't see anybody raise their hand. I'd rather a kid work on defense stands, work on everything, his closeouts, everything like that, get tired before he get in the offense. And not understanding, you know, offense gonna get you gonna get you a scholarship. Offense will earn you a scholarship, but when you get to college, defense gonna get you on the floor.
Right. So
you have to really be careful on what you focus on your mind is, and I say this all the time too. Don't let praise ruin you. You know, you got to be saved by criticism. And praise, you know, it's kind of like this, and I'm not going to say any names. I've seen people talk about, man, he got to be the best dunker in the country or in our state. And when people start bragging about that kid, that's in that kid's head, that's all you want to work on. Then he get in the game and somebody take dunking away from him, he can't play. You know, how can your game translate if all you focus on just one thing? It won't translate. And coach is going to see that same thing at the same time. So get in the gym, work on all your weaknesses. You know, even if you have to get in the gym and take, you know, 50 jump shots with your left hand or do left hand, just get better at everything you're weak at. And like Rick said in the prior thing, just, you got to be honest with yourself. You can't sit here and think that you're, you know, better than what you are because your parents telling you that. You know, you have to be honest with yourself and work.
Yep. Well said. Well said, man. Well said. Well, we'll definitely have to have you back, Vaughn. Excited about what you continue to do, and appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, we go all the way back to when I started in the grassroots.
Yeah. Yep. And PSA and stuff. Yeah.
Yep, it's been quite a journey. But tell the missus I said hello and the family, and keep up the great work, man. Thanks for coming on.
Well, appreciate you.
Okay, man. Yeah, so that wraps up our show for today. Just wanted to take the time to, just show some more love to some of the people in the different parts of Texas that are so influential to helping young men outside of just the high school coaches, the coaches that are with them many times year round, and picking them up, taking them home, and just helping them navigate. I think it's important. I was in that space, so I understand it. And, as college coaches, we recruit that space. So important to be able to, let these guys have a chance to get some love and tell their side of the story. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Appreciate you, Corey, very much for all your support, and continue to watch. And all those that do, please follow us on All Access or subscribe to us on All Access Network on YouTube. You can see all the videos that are not only full-length videos, but also broken up videos. We'll continue to evolve that page. And, special shout-out to Lou Hill and his family. Definitely still a heavy one to swallow, losing one of the great ones. And as far as our live shows, we'll be shutting down for a couple of weeks. We got some big news in the Burton household that we got a new family member coming next week. So we'll be shutting down the live shows, but we'll have plenty of replay content on not only our social media, but also on YouTube. So please subscribe, like, share, and be safe. Wear your mask and tell your loved ones you love them. Thanks so much again.